Hey everybody, tonight we're debating flat Earth versus globe Earth, and we are starting right now. With our globe side starting us off, thanks so much for being with us, Dell. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, so I just have a few, points that we're going to go over. I guess the core of one would be that the Earth is observably spherical and it is rotating. We find that through different technologies that we have and different measurements. If you'd be willing to play the arm video, James, this is just a quick physical, practical experiment that I performed a few hours before starting this debate, actually, just to demonstrate that density is, in fact, not what causes things to fall. So in this very short 40, 50-second-ish experiment, I made two very nice companion cubes. And one of them is completely solid, and one of them is pretty much hollow.
Just to be sure I'm on the same page, did you want me to actually press play?
Yeah. Go ahead and press it on the arm one.
It is playing, so it's now showing
All
it
right.
being shaped by the machine.
Cool. So it should be able to demonstrate that even though they're more dense than the other, they fall at the exact same rate and they hit the table floor at the exact same time. So that's part one of what I would, want to go over is what's causing that. If they're more dense than the other, how is it going down at the same time and hitting the table at the exact same time? So that's part one. And part two would be in the second video. I don't know, James, is it done or?
2 seconds. It went into autoplay on one of our past videos. So 2 seconds. I'm gonna switch that over. I've just got to click over. 2 seconds.
All right.
And your second video, speed of light, gravity, I have playing.
Yes.
3, 2, 1 now.
Excellent. So in this video, I've actually used, this is what you would see through the headset. I'm using one of my Magic Leap headsets, which basically projects, you can call holograms, like HoloLens by Microsoft, but it's a different company. It can project holograms and other things, like whatever you want, basically, computer screens in your worlds that you can see. So in this video, I have a couple demos. There's a ball that's bouncy, and it's thrown up, and then it rolls down the hill where I am outside. There's a couple where a little robot jumps off a table, and everything's done purely with math because it's a computer, so it's pure math. And how can gravity, if we don't understand gravity at least enough to simulate it, how are we accomplishing this? And then I think Magic Leap is kind of the flat Earth killing machine, just because it not only shows that we understand gravity enough to simulate it, we also understand the speed of light because we're using only cameras and lasers to tell depth and distance and to basically assign objects and recognize tables. And then the controller, which uses a magnet on the side, is not interfered with at all. So it can get an accurate position using only a magnet, or sensor, to get the position of where the controller is in space. And it can do that accurately without interfering with anything else. So if it doesn't work, if gravity is magnetism, why aren't I getting interference on something that is so sensitive to magnetism that it can track an object in 3D space? And then the final part, of this, is the lenses themselves. We understand light adequately enough to be able to make these sensors for the headset, but also the lenses that project the images into your eyes. So if we don't, the whole point is here, I'm gonna, address this as we go along, but if we don't understand these concepts well enough that we think the Earth is flat or whatever, how are we making a headset like this? And how is it doing the things that it's doing if we don't really understand them? And if math isn't really able to demonstrate the real world and figure things out, basically. It's, they say, oh, math is fake, but we can recreate things like gravity using pure math. And I guess that's it.
Thank you very
much. I don't know how
much.
much time is left.
You got it. Well, thank you very much, Dell. And want to remind you folks, a couple of things. First, our guests are linked in the description. We really do appreciate our guests. And so you can find their links below. And that includes if you're listening via the Modern Day Debate podcast, we put our guest links in the description as well for the podcast episode. And by the way, folks, if you haven't found us on your favorite podcast app already, do pull that out and find us, as we've been really excited that we've got a lot of positive feedback, so we're thankful it's useful to people. And with that, we'll kick it over to Wotan for his opening as well. Glad to have you back, Wotan. It's been a while.
Glad to be back. So I'd like to change it up a little bit with my debate strategy here. I told Dell here that I wanted to set up a modest tolerance, but first I want to show my little cool video that I made here, if you don't mind, James. Like I said, I warned you, there's little Mozart playing in the back, so if you could decline right now if you want.
It's all
the
right.
Copyright. I don't think it should be much of a problem, but you could send the bill to me or something if it's a copyright strike. Let me see here. Okay, here it is. Second. And you can see it?
Yes.
Wait, where is Okay, there we go.
That's what fucking shut up.
I hope we got audio.
Was the music supposed to have started by now?
I don't hear anything.
Okay, if the music was supposed to have started by now, we can't hear it. We see a man doing some sort of interpretive dance, but we don't hear music.
I hope there was audio there.
It didn't.
I didn't hear
on.
anything.
Excuse me?
I think that it might have been the case. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be there yet or not, but
there was no audio. All
right,
forget it. Who cares? We'll just get right into the debate. That's a typical Raven fail right there. All right, so modest tolerance. So do you agree, Dell, that if the Earth is round, if P then Q?
I just want to confirm your intro's done.
Yes.
Or are we okay?
It's over, right? I'm not displaying anymore.
No,
Right.
no. I was just wondering time wise.
like your
Okay.
opening statement.
No, I need to
Yeah,
now. I
you
need to get into
finish-
my opening,
you
but the
finish.
modest
Okay,
tolerance.
gotcha.
Okay, go.
So if P then Q, if the Earth is round, then water is adhering to the exterior of a shape due to gravity, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a concession. Okay. If P then Q, if the Earth is round, and your model gas is in a vacuum around the ball due to gravity, correct?
Gas is in a vacuum. You mean like the Earth is
Outer space
in
is a vacuum. Earth is not a vacuum, correct? It's not.
outer space is a unperfect vacuum, but sure.
Okay, yeah, but it's 10 to the negative
It's
17
in
towards
there,
absolutely.
yeah.
There's no vacuum chamber on the face of the Earth that can come even remotely close to the vacuum of space, correct?
For this debate, sure.
No. It's not for the debate. It's a matter of fact. It's a matter of
Well,
fact.
for
It's a yes
the
or no.
sake of this, I don't know
NASA's
the
chamber. Listen,
capabilities
don't
of
play
all of them.
stupid with me. NASA's chamber doesn't even come a tenth the close to the vacuum of space. Okay.
Sure, I'll
So
give
it's
you
a
that
yes or
one.
no question.
Yes,
10 to the
no
negative
vacuum
17
can be
torr
as
is the vacuum of
vacuumy as
space.
that vacuum.
Okay, and we have
Go to
gas
the
around the
purpose.
ball in your fairy tale world. Gas is around the world in your fairy
We
tale
do have
world,
gas pressure. We've
and it's
atmospheric pressure, I should
enveloped
say,
inside of a
around the ball,
vacuum
yes.
known as space. Correct?
It's enveloped within
It's
the vacuum
inside the
known as
vacuum.
space.
It's inside the vacuum of
Sure,
space.
it's-
Correct?
Yes, it's inside.
Yes, that's a concession. Yes. Okay, so that's true also.
If you want to,
If
yeah,
the-
weird way to
No,
phrase
no,
it.
it's not if I want it. So if you want it, these are your claims.
No, I
These
said
are
it's
not
a
my
weird way to
claims.
phrase it. Logan.
These are not my claims. These are your claims. These are your fairy tale
I said
delusions.
it's a weird way to phrase it.
No, it's not a
Yes,
weird way
the
to
Earth
phrase
is
it.
in
It's very
space,
simple.
Yes.
There's
Continue.
gas around the ball. Is there not?
Yes, there is gas. and
Okay, Earth
including
is in the vacuum of
atmospheric
space.
pressure.
Is it not?
It sure, yeah, it's floating
Thank you very
around.
much. Thank you very much. That's over. Next is if the Earth is round, the atmosphere, which is around the ball Earth, is spinning at the same speed as the Earth, correct?
1 second. Just
yeah.
want to, in case, pardon my interruption, but just
Yeah,
want
go
to
for
let people know because they are asking who is speaking. So if you hear a thick New York accent, and I'm going to pull it on screen so you can see his screen
That's
light
me,
up,
Wotan, Sauron, Graven Duncan. I should
But-
probably just change my YouTube alias by now.
you'll be able to see in a
Wotan
moment, folks.
works, yeah.
I'm making it so that you can see the light on the screen as our guests have not used their cameras tonight. So what I'm going to do is you'll be able to see on screen, it'll light up on the outer edges of the picture of the person speaking, and that way you'll have an idea of who's talking. So go ahead, gentlemen.
Excellent.
Right. So the last premise,
yeah.
I could throw in about 100 premises into this modest tolerance easily, but for the sake of brevity, for the sake of James's time and our time
Yeah,
here,
let's
I
not do
left it down
100
to
more
3
times.
to keep it short and simple. Believe me, I could add many, many more. But these are 3 of the, just to let the audience know, these are 3 of the single most foundational baseline claims that must absolutely be true. There is no question that these must be true.
Hold on,
if
you're
the
saying
Earth
the
is
most
round.
foundational basic belief is that the Earth is in space and there is atmospheric pressure.
No. If these are the most foundational claims that if
Yeah,
the
that's
Earth
what
is
I'm saying.
round, these
Yeah.
3 claims must be true. There's
Yeah,
no
that
other way that
the
it cannot
Earth-
be true.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
third premise is if the Earth is round, if P, then Q, the atmosphere is spinning around the ball at the same speed as the Earth is turning inside of a vacuum.
If the Earth is spherical, I don't know if you're one of those flat earthers that says, "Oh, you're not flat, you're round." But for the sake of this, spherical.
No, I'm
yeah.
talking about you. Forget about flat Earth.
I know.
these are
I just
your
want to make sure that
claims.
you're not saying you're not.
Forget
saying
about flat
circular,
Earth. I believe. How
round,
about
so
I'm
that
a
you say
triangle
that.
Earth? How about that? I'm a triangle Earth. What does it matter? It makes no difference. These are
Flat.
your claims.
Okay, continue.
I'm challenging your claims. Okay, so the third time I'm going to say this, the atmosphere
Go for it.
in your fairy tale heliocentric ball Earth model is around the Earth and it's spinning at the same exact speed as the Earth is spinning, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, so now can you please show me one single scientific experiment to demonstrate anything which consists of Q?
Well, you want to play that? I mean, we have pictures of it. That's the
No.
problem.
That's not an experiment though. I want a
I
scientific
don't know.
experiment. I want
What
a
is you
scientific
defining as
experiment, or this
experiment?
debate is
If I
over.
send a
Dead stop
probe
right
up
now.
and above the world, and I take a picture of it, and I send that picture
Listen
back.
to me. The debate is over. Dead stop right now. If you do not have a single scientific experiment to demonstrate
Oh,
anything which
Lord.
consists of Q,
Wotan, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
you don't
'cause
know.
I
Well, the
don't
debate
know
is
why
over.
you're
How about
getting
this?
that-
I'm gonna take the
Don't know why
victory.
you're
This
making
is
that
the
point.
this is the
Because I
world's.
could just
This
say
is
because
listen.
we
Listen
get
to me.
from
Listen.
outer
Give me a
space.
minute.
We
Give me a
see
minute.
it moving.
Give me a minute. I'm still in my opening statement. Okay, hold on
Go
a
ahead,
second.
go ahead.
Okay, this
Well,
is the
Well, I don't think
world's.
you're
This
still
Wotan.
is.
saying
Shut
it.
up.
Whoa,
For a second. Shut your mouth.
Wotan,
Let me
hold
talk.
on a second.
I want a minute.
Wotan,
Going for it.
Okay. You gave
Wotan,
me
hold
3
on 1 second.
concessions.
Hold on, wait, but Wotan.
He's interrupting me, James. I'm
wait,
talking.
wait.
I said I just want a minute.
I just want to make sure
Wotan,
you know
wait
this is the
1
opening
second.
statement. This is
We're
not
gonna hold
stuff.
on a second. What we're gonna do is I'll give you a chance to speak, Wotan. But to be fair,
No, but I just asked him questions, James, and
hold
he
on,
answered them. That's it. Now I just want to continue. That's all.
Wotan.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so
Go ahead,
to be
give him
fair,
time.
Wotan,
Yeah, this happens all the
all right.
time, man. This
Listen, I
happens
hate
all
to
the
do
time,
this,
James.
but okay, Wotan. Now, Wotan. So, Wotan, I've got you on. I've got you dimmed down. So let me just for a moment explain my concern. In particular, is that just because I know it was your intro, but I was under the impression it was open conversation. So that's one thing. Is well, I'm gonna give you. Okay, I got you. Okay, so just for clear, because this will give you a minute to wrap up, and then we'll go into open conversation.
YouTube flat Earth community, I Graven Dawkins, aka Wotan Sauron, been debating this topic for over 6 years. Okay, easily debated astrophysicists the whole nine. The team fuckstick, fight the stupid one, whatever Earth. Okay, I don't want to say their names because James gets triggered whenever you say somebody else's name that's not here to defend them. But I've debated just about everybody, everyone. Okay, Blues, fairy tales. Okay, you probably know who he is too. But it's not.
Don't know who that is.
Okay, so yeah, so I've debated everybody. I'm not stupid. Okay, you have just conceded. You have conceded in the premise, in my modest tolerance. You said that they are all true and they're all accurate. That if P, then Q. I asked you to provide me a scientific experiment to show me how anything in Q is true. And you said no. You don't know. You don't know. So the debate is over. The debate is over. You do not have scientific experiments to prove anything. This is the world's fastest YouTube flat Earth debate in the history of YouTube.
Good.
It's over. I just won. That's it. It's over. There's nothing to talk about.
Okay, so
Steve's gonna repeat that.
I might as well just leave right now. I know. I would love to leave right now and have James Coons' video show 5 minutes, and everybody's gonna be like, "Wow, a 5-minute debate! Holy shit! Let me click this. Let me see what that's about."
No,
all right,
he's
gonna get a million views.
Wotan,
he's gonna get a million views.
A chance to respond to each other. So we're gonna jump into.
I would love to just end it right here.
No, we're going to jump into the open conversation.
Wotan.
That's fair. That each of you guys gets a chance to.
I want the world record fastest YouTube debate on Flat
Earth. What we're going to do is, folks, we're going to jump into the open conversation. And thanks so much for your questions. We'll have Q&A at the end after this, roughly 50 or 60 minutes, if we survive, of open dialogue. And also want to say, folks, if it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button, as we have many more juicy debates coming up, including in May. We are thrilled for this one, folks. Bigfoot on trial. So that should be a juicy debate on whether or not Bigfoot exists and whether or not there's evidence for Bigfoot. You don't want to miss that one, so do hit that subscribe.
I'm more evidence for Bigfoot than the Globe
notification bell. All right, here we go into open conversation. Gentlemen, the floor is all yours.
The debate's over. There's nothing to talk about. Yeah, so, you could babble your crap, whatever you want to say. You want to show your little CGI virtual reality crap. Yeah, to show that that's reality. You could do that. That's fine. I live in the real world. I'm on terra firma.
Wotan. Are we calm?
No, I'm very assertive. I'm from New York. I'm very assertive. I'm very confident.
I did not say that there is no science to prove it.
You said you don't know. I showed you to show me experiment. You said you don't know. So how do you know what you believe is true?
I don't know what experiment that could prove every single point.
You don't know what you believe is true.
If you have multiple foundational
claims that the Globe Earth has to make.
Multiple claims, you can't prove those multiple claims with one scientific experiment.
No, I didn't say that. I said show me a scientific experiment to show me each and every premise. Claim. Obviously, one experiment is not going to show all three are true.
Yes,
I want a scientific experiment for each premise.
Yes, so you're asking for an individual experiment for each premise.
3 different claims. You need 3 different experiments,
and not one experiment that proves all of it at one time.
There are 3 different claims. You need 3 different scientific experiments.
I just want to make sure, because I thought you were saying you wanted one experiment that shows everything, because that's dumb.
Right. So do you have 3 experiments to show me that the 3 premises are true?
So bring up your first premise. What do you want to know? Just say
these are your claims. I'm not here to prove your world. You're here to prove
that's not what I brought in. So I don't know. Like,
I'm not here to prove your delusions. I'm not here to prove your fairy tales. You're here to prove your world.
I don't think you're okay. I'm asking you, Wotan. Wotan, I can prove it, but I'm not.
Do it now. What are you talking for? Do it.
Well, if we're gonna do that, then let's go to what I brought.
No experiments. I don't want to see your virtual reality bullshit. I don't want to see your fucking stupid virtual reality bullshit. Okay.
I don't think
I live in the real world.
Reality,
don't get me wrong. I stream on Twitch. I play a shit ton of video games. Okay, but I understand the distinction between video games and reality. I know they're different.
No,
okay?
Wotan, those
I know they're fucking different. You apparently you don't. You live in a video game world. You walk around in virtual reality heads on your fucking head all day.
Gentlemen, I do want to get to the issue. So what we will do is we're going to jump into 2-minute intervals if it doesn't calm down. So in other words, where it would basically be 2 minutes for each person to talk at a time, and we just switch back and forth. So if we want to keep this organic, open conversation going, let's jump into the actual issues.
All right, Wotan, you're asking me to prove the globe. What specific part? What specific part of it that you brought up would you like to know about?
The 3 premises, each one, whichever you want to choose first, doesn't matter.
The atmosphere spins with the globe?
The atmosphere is spinning at the same, very specific,
Well,
the same
ironically,
speed.
if I take a
The same
helicopter
speed
up,
as the globe is spinning.
yes.
In a vacuum.
If I take a helicopter up, it doesn't scoot around
Right,
the globe.
because you have a fairy
It
tale
goes
belief
straight
that
up.
you think that the atmosphere is going at the same speed as the Earth, with
Wotan.
absolutely not a single remote scientific experiment to show whatsoever that is even remotely true. You do not have any
But
science on your
helicopters don't
side.
fly away
Let's
when
hear
you go up.
There is
uninterrupted
no
now.
science on the globe.
Let's hear
You don't have
now
fucking
from
science.
Dell.
You have tropes. And
Let's
Well, I
fairy
just want to make
Dell.
sure he's not
and
saying that there's no
delusions.
Wotan,
scientific
you
evidence
gotta
of
let
when you
Dell
go up in a
respond.
helicopter.
Go ahead, Dell.
All right, Wotan. Well, like I said, you can take a helicopter, you can go up.
That's not an
and we
experiment.
know that it's not spinning. It doesn't have to be. It's an observation.
That's not an experiment. That's your observation.
Wotan,
observed
we
it.
want to let him
It's
finish.
a
Seeing it.
pathological
Wotan.
fallacy.
Well, that's it. I'll just bring up the premise. I don't know. Like, he can continue from there.
Do you
Like, that's the
understand that
point.
that is
We
a
could
pathological
view it.
fallacy? You're begging the question when you say that. The observation is, don't interrupt me for 1 second. Your observation
ahead.
is,
Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you. Sorry, Wotan. Wotan, don't take this personally. Just hang with me. Yeah, okay, we're gonna just go into 2-minute intervals. So Wotan, if you want to get a response in, we're gonna give it to you right now, and then we're gonna go over to. So basically, I'm gonna mute both of you if I have to as we switch back and forth, but just to keep things in order. But Dell, did you feel like you got everything you needed to say?
Yeah, just if we fly a helicopter straight up, we know that the atmosphere is with it. It's not, the Earth isn't flying around below it as we go up.
Gotcha. Okay.
And as we go higher up, we don't magically have the Earth going faster and faster and faster below us.
All right, we're ready for you, Wotan. Wotan, are you going to purposely?
Is he done now?
Are you going to purposely not unmute yourself?
Well, did he leave?
No, he's still here.
oh, I didn't know I was muted. So, okay, the beast is unleashed. So,
8 years.
do you
Wow.
understand that when you use your observation and you include it in your conclusion, that is a begging the question logical fallacy? Do you understand? The observation is the helicopter goes up in the sky. Your observation is the helicopter goes up in the sky. It stays over the helipad, but it doesn't spin off. The helipad doesn't move underneath the helicopter because you believe that the atmosphere is moving at the same speed as the globe Earth, and you're using your observation to prove your conclusion.
Right, so
that
how
is
would
a
we
begging
test
the
that?
question logical fallacy. Do you not understand that? Or you absolutely
How would we
retarded?
test? That's my observation. That's not the
1
experiment.
sec.
That's
Well,
what I
just-
observed.
That is a
Wotan, you've got
begging the
another minute
question
and a half
logical
if you want
fallacy.
it. Yeah, are
What's
you
that
ready
understand
there?
that?
Ready to kick it back, Wotan?
Yeah. Do
Okay.
you understand that's a begging the question logical fallacy?
All right, 2 minutes for Dell. Go ahead, Dell.
All right. Well, that's not the entire experiment. That's what we observe to start asking the question. We see the helicopter doesn't scoot around. So then we can do something else. We could send a probe up and see, oh, well, the Earth is a ball. And that's how we go. We could go up higher, not into space, but just enough. And we can watch the helicopter. We see it go up. And this isn't really my point. So I'm just kind of like freeballing because I don't really care about helicopters.
You don't care about
But
the globe Earth
you
either.
could watch it.
You don't care about
I don't
science
care about
either.
the globe
I can
Earth.
tell that's
So-
apparently obvious.
Okay.
You don't have any science. You're just
So I'm
babbling.
going to mute you.
You're
Wotan,
using
until
your
Dell is done. So Dell, go ahead. You've got another minute and 24 seconds.
Sure. Well, I mean, you can observe the helicopter. You can watch it. You can watch the ground. If you keep going up, you notice it's not scooting. James, I don't know really where to go with this slide because I didn't bring up the I don't know. This isn't my point.
This is how
I didn't
Wotan
plan an
always
experiment with a
is.
helicopter.
All right.
This is not,
Well, whatever you were going to say, you have a minute left.
This
well, I don't know. I just know that regardless of that, I did a practical experiment to prove that gravity works the way we say. So if you want to talk about practical experiments, there you go. So we could talk about helicopters, or we could address the actual physical proof that I brought in. And it's your choice, Wotan.
it's not my choice. These are your fairy tales. Can I go now?
Go ahead.
Okay. You have to understand, if you don't concede that you're begging the question, listen, there are scientists in this, most likely there's actual literal scientists in this chat right now. And they absolutely
probably
know.
is a
Listen,
scientist
stop it. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. I have 2 minutes. How dare you? Okay. There are probably literal, actual scientists in the chat who would disagree with me. That's fine. But they would agree with me on the grounds that you are absolutely committing the begging the question logical fallacy right now. You see an observation. You see a helicopter flying in the sky. And you're fucking trying to sit here and tell me that the proof that why is the Earth is spinning with the atmosphere is because the helicopter is in the sky and not moving. That is a begging the question logical fallacy. Do you understand that?
That's the observation.
It's a
Wotan.
logical
That's not the
fallacy. I don't care
experiment.
what it is. A logical
It's not a
fallacy.
logical fallacy because
It is
the
a
experiment
fallacy.
isn't let's fly a helicopter.
You're coming at me with a logical
That's the
fallacy right now, buddy. Do you understand that?
One
You're
sec.
making a grave
That's what we
mistake
would
right now.
test for.
You're
Let's
making
see.
a grave
Wotan, you got,
mistake.
if I remember right, we're on Wotan. You got another minute and 25 seconds left.
You're making a grave error right now. There's philosophers probably in the chat, people who study philosophy, that you're making a grave error right now. You're committing a literal, actual, patent logical fallacy, and you're trying to sit here and fucking tell me that that is your proof of your conclusion. That's like me saying I'm dribbling a basketball, and the reason why the basketball is dribbling is because I'm dribbling the basketball. That's exactly what the fuck you're trying to say. Why? Why is it happening? There's reasons. There's physics involved. Something's happening. What's going on? The wind, the air, the fake gravity, whatever the fuck it is. There's reasons. You understand? It's not just, you don't use your observation to prove your conclusion. It's a patent logical fallacy begging the question. Now, I'm going to ask you one last time. I swear to God, I'm going to leave this debate right now if you don't show me an experiment, okay? I want the world record fastest YouTube flat earth debate on fucking all of YouTube. I want it. I'm begging for it. I'm about to leave in 2 seconds, okay?
No.
The fastest, most concise, most conclusive flat earth victory in the history of YouTube. Okay, right. I'm gonna fucking.
Okay, that's
okay. I'm gonna ask you one last time.
Oh
Do you have a single experiment, clinical, scientific experiment
in my first
to
video,
prove any premise in Q?
Okay, I think that's the end of Wotan's time, so we'll give it to Dell for 2 minutes.
Well, I can admit, and I'll concede that I don't have an experiment involving
the debate
helicopters.
is over. See you later.
Wotan,
involving helicopters.
The debate is over. See you later.
Wotan, don't do it.
Well, I guess helicopters did it for him.
The debate is over.
Wotan,
you just conceded.
Listen.
You just conceded.
Wotan, you can't interrupt.
You just conceded. It's over. There's no point to say anything no more. It doesn't matter what you say. Everything
his arguments,
bullshit. It doesn't matter.
Working.
It doesn't matter.
Buying it.
I hate to do this, Wotan. I temporarily have you on mute. It's just for a moment. Bear with me. But we got to give him his 2 minutes. Let's at least let him finish. Maybe even if you don't think what he said so far is convincing or meets the criteria, let's at least let him have the first 2 minutes. So maybe he'll bring up something that will convince you. All right, go ahead.
All right. Well, he's yelling about me doing a physical experiment. And in my first video, I showed a physical experiment proving magical gravity. So I don't know why he's yelling about that. You could address that, like address the evidence in the experiment that I brought, or we can talk about helicopters and how that's an experiment. And by the way, just so we're clear, the helicopter flying is not the experiment. That's the observation you would have to initiate your experimentation. You would go from there. You see that happening, and then you go, oh, why is that happening? That's not the experiment itself, Wotan. I don't know if I could be even like any clearer than that.
Are we done?
Okay. The helicopter flying is not the experiment. That is the observation to initiate testing. I did not do that testing, so I'm not talking about helicopters. I brought a physical experiment in and showed you. If you want to talk about experiments, address that experiment. That's it.
Done?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what does that have to do with the speed of the atmosphere around the Earth?
Oh my goodness.
You dropping two little objects and they're flying at the same speed. What does that have to do with the claim that the atmosphere is spinning at the same speed as the Earth?
It does. It has to do with the claim that the Earth is a ball, Wotan.
No.
It has to do with the claim
we were talking. Don't play stupid with me. Don't play stupid with me. I'm not stupid. Okay, you're not going to fucking argue with me.
Wotan, I want to give you 2 minutes.
Wotan.
So I'll give you 2 minutes, Wotan. But if you keep asking questions, we're going to get sucked into dialogue. So I do, if you can, make your case in that 2 minutes. Otherwise, your dialogue chemistry is frightening. So I don't want to do any more dialogue.
My dialogue chemistry is always frightening. That's just how I am. So when you take two objects and they fall at the same speed, that doesn't necessarily follow, to quote Darth Dawkins, someone who I'm a fan of, that doesn't necessarily follow that the air is going at the same speed as the ball Earth. In order for you to demonstrate that air or gas can travel at the same speed as an object is spinning, in reference to the globe Earth, you would have to get some kind of a giant gas chamber, vacuum chamber, like something the one that NASA has. Put a little gas in there, okay, however much you want to put, I don't know, whatever it is, okay, make it like, scale it down like the size of the Earth, like scale the amount of gas that would be around the Earth and take an object and put it around that object, okay, and make that object spin, make the ball spin, okay? Tell me at what point that when you're spinning that ball inside of that giant NASA fucking vacuum chamber, at what point does the gas inside that vacuum chamber, number one, go near the little tiny object and be attracted to it by virtue of gravity, which is absolutely never going to happen because the ball is simply fairy tale. But number two, you need to show that the atmosphere or the gas inside that vacuum chamber is going to somehow magically spin at the exact same speed as the ball Earth, which is impossible, which has never been demonstrated.
Okay, are you done?
Crickets? Yeah.
I don't know how long that was, Wotan. I'm being polite to you, Wotan. Don't do the cricket shit, because I waited till you were done. So shut up.
Yeah, again.
My experiment was not to prove anything about the atmosphere. That was your point that you brought up.
But I told you that I wanted to talk about modest tolerance.
We've got to do
Correct.
2 minutes.
If we're addressing my experiment, the experiment is to drop 2 cubes, not balls.
Cool.
2 cubes to see if the atmosphere is moving. I don't know why you're even getting to that point. I don't understand that. That's whatever. My point. Don't cite Darth Dawkins. I'm sorry. That was ridiculous. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. The experiment was not to show that the Earth has the atmosphere moving around. My experiment is to show that gravity is what's pulling things down, not density or buoyancy or whatever else C you want to say. So you can keep talking about, we can talk about helicopters, the atmosphere, and the balls in the vacuum chamber. I don't care. I don't have a vacuum chamber here. So that's not my experiment. So you're like trying to aside. I'm saying my experiment proves A. And I'm saying, why doesn't it prove B? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I told you before the debate started that I wanted to talk about the premises, which consist of my modest tolerance, and you're showing me an experiment which has patently absolutely nothing remotely whatsoever to do with anything which consists of Q, which is a part of my modest tolerance. So number one, you haven't shown a single scientific experiment to demonstrate anything which consists of Q. Now, one single premise, and now what you're doing is you're saying, oh, well, this experiment that I'm showing you shows that the Earth is round. No, I'm talking about the modest tolerance that I set up, okay? The modest tolerance that I set up is what I want to know. Do you have an experiment to show water around the ball adhering to the exterior shape by virtue of gravity alone? No. Do you have an experiment showing that that air can travel at the same speed around the spinning object inside of a vacuum chamber? No. Do you have an experiment showing that gas can exist inside of an infinite eternal vacuum and be attracted by a little tiny ball?
Yes, I do. No. I proved
Where's the
gravity,
experiment?
Wotan.
Where is the experiment? I want to see. I don't want to hear your bullshit jargon nonsense. I want to see you share a screen and show a scientist with a giant chamber with an experiment showing what you're saying is real.
We're going to.
I showed you a scientist.
No, you didn't. You showed me 2 fucking cubes falling at the same speed.
All
That doesn't mean anything, you asshole.
We've got to. Let's
Moron.
simmer down.
How are you so stupid?
What we're going to do.
These are the people that I got to deal with.
Hold on, Wotan.
These are the morons that I got to deal with.
Wotan.
Are you serious?
Just take a deep breath.
This is the best you got?
Everything.
Is this the best you got?
What we were going to do is set it for 2 minutes, and if I remember right, whose turn was it?
I don't know.
It's always my turn.
Okay, Dell.
Well, I guess it's mine because he's the flat earther.
For 2 minutes, Dell, you get to make your case, and then we'll kick back to Wotan for 2 minutes.
Go.
Yep.
I don't know the timer starts. All right. So, my experiment, I'll say this one more time, does not entail the atmosphere really at all. It involves it, obviously. It doesn't prove anything about this. It doesn't prove any of that. You just said I can't prove gravity. I've shown you gravity. You just said, show me a guy in a lab coat, which doesn't make sense.
I never said
show me doing a video, screen share, doing an experiment. I just showed you an experiment being done on the screen. We can watch it again, James, if you want to see. The whole point is, one is really dense, one is not at all dense. They fall at the exact same time. How is that possible if it's density or buoyancy or whatever else? Because that's what gravity says will happen. That's what buoyancy and density does not say will happen. Why do they both have the same speed falling? I guess that's yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so at what point in this debate did I make any claims as to why things fall?
You just said I can't prove gravity. And
at what point did I ever make a single claim
if you
about how
gravity,
or why things
that is
fall?
Basing on the point that you do not think gravity is correct.
No, but at what point, you're not understanding the question. At what point you're literally committing a straw man right now. You're attacking me for a position that I don't hold. Okay, you're saying that I believe that density and buoyancy explain why things fall. I never even once
No.
mentioned. I never. Matter of fact, that is the first time I
Wotan.
even said the words density and buoyancy in this entire discussion. Right now, that's the second time. Okay,
I said
so you're
density,
attacking me as a
buoyancy,
straw man.
and
This
any
is a
other
total
C.
straw man.
Density, buoyancy, or any other C. I said that it shows gravity.
At
Wotan.
what point did I say density and buoyancy cause things to fall?
I said it proves gravity. I didn't say you said density.
Okay,
buoyancy.
so don't attack me for it. Don't attack the straw man that you just set up. Thank you very much.
I'm telling you.
I'm
as an
asking you for your
example,
evidence.
Wotan.
And also, your experiment doesn't
just-
show. Hold on, your experiment doesn't show
Go ahead.
water around the ball, does it?
I'm not experimenting for water around the ball.
Well, that's what I want to see. That's what I'm
Well, I
talking
didn't
about.
prepare
You
that.
agreed to the
I'm
modest
sorry,
tolerance. You agreed
kindergarten
to set up and to
understanding of
discuss the modest tolerance. Did you not?
I'm sorry. No, I didn't know that.
You didn't.
Say
Now
that.
you're saying
I
I
don't know
fucking
your
recorded.
premises.
You're lying right now because I recorded it on my stream. You're lying. You're saying you
No,
didn't.
no, Wotan. I
It's
did my
recorded.
experiment, and I said this a few hours before the stream. I would not be able to prepare an experiment for your argument, which doesn't make
Because
sense
you don't have
anyway.
it. That's obvious. No
I
one
would
has it.
not be able to
I'm
prepare.
debating this topic for 6 years. No one has ever shown me a single
6
scientific
years.
experiment. Do you understand that? Not one person.
Well, I showed you one, Wotan.
Not fight the glowbirds. Not fight the
I'm
fuckstick.
not testing
Not
for
blues.
that.
Blues fairy
I'm
tales.
not
None of
testing
them.
for water
Okay,
around
none
the
of them.
ball.
No one.
Oh, my goodness.
Not Steve
I don't know why
McFlay.
you won't just
Nobody.
address the experiment, Wotan. Why do they fall at the same time? The exact, precise same time.
It doesn't matter. I want to see water around the ball.
It does matter, Wotan, because that
I want to
shows that
see
there's
water around
gravity.
the ball. Do you have water around the ball?
I don't care what you
You don't
want
have
to
water
see.
around the ball.
That's
Do you have
stupid.
gas around the ball?
That's silly, Wotan.
No? Okay. Do you have gas around the ball
It's
spinning at the same
very
speed as
silly,
the ball?
Wotan.
No.
It's very goofy.
No.
I don't know what his language policy
no,
is.
No. It's like History of the World Part 1. Where the girl just saying
What?
no. You just no. Everything's no. You just don't have any experiments, do you? Can I
don't
quote
understand
one
that,
of the greatest
Wotan.
scientific minds of all time?
Oh, please.
I'm pretty
do.
sure. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with wow.
Apparently, you're not familiar.
Okay,
You can't
first
remember the
science.
name. Good
Ah,
job.
wow.
6 years didn't do
Hold on
much
a
for
second.
you.
How the fuck did I forget this guy's name?
Wow.
It
6 years,
doesn't
Wotan? You
matter
forgot his name?
how
Am I
smart
that scary to you?
you are. The fuck is his name? Wow, how did I forget this guy's name?
You can
Well, he
just tell
says,
me what he said.
it doesn't
I don't
matter
need
how
the
smart
name.
you think you are. It doesn't matter how beautiful your theory is. If it doesn't agree with experiment, it's wrong. Do you
Wotan,
agree with that?
I did an experiment to prove gravity, and it worked. So it is correct by his logic.
Richard Feynman. There you go.
And
Richard
part of
Feynman.
his
How the
quote
fuck
was
did I
that it
forget his name?
doesn't matter who it was.
Do you
And
agree with
based on
Richard
the name.
Feynman? Do you agree
Say
with
the
with the claim that Richard Feynman is absolutely one of the greatest scientists to ever live?
Yeah, I would say. Well, yeah,
Okay.
I'd say one of the
So when
greatest.
one of the
not
greatest scientists who ever lives says that I don't care how beautiful your theory is, I don't care how smart you think you are, if it doesn't agree with experiment, it's wrong. Do you disagree with that?
Oh my goodness, Wotan.
You don't. So you
Wotan,
don't want to agree because you know
I
I'm
agree
gonna
with
take
him.
a
I've
hot
said that
steamy one
already.
all over everything you say right now.
Wotan, I already said I agree to that.
You agree? Okay, so then you
I
don't
already
have to, so then
said
you
yes,
then by
that is a
definition it
correct
logically
statement.
follows that you don't that everything that you're saying is wrong. Because
By
you do not have a
definition, it
scientific
does
experiment
not,
to prove
because I
anything.
presented an experiment that you failed to address.
Your experiment doesn't show water around the
I
fucking
don't
ball,
give a
asshole.
fuck about the
It doesn't
water,
show
Wotan.
gas
Let's
around
keep
a
it
ball,
civil,
I'm
gentlemen.
not
asshole. It doesn't show
concerned with
gas around a
showing
ball
water
spinning at the
around
same
a
speed,
ball.
asshole.
And
It
the
shows
best
two fucking
part-
robot arms.
All right,
Let
you're
it go
going
over
to jump
fucking two
into
minutes,
those
all at the
2 minute
same speed.
intervals.
What the
We're
fuck
going
is
to jump
that?
into the 2 minute intervals. So
Wotan, the best part is
I've got
yet
2
to
minutes starting
You're a
with
moron,
this. We'll
bro.
do it.
You're a freaking moron.
Wotan.
I'm
We're gonna start.
sorry.
We're gonna start with Wotan this time for 2 minutes,
come. All right.
and then we'll go over to Dell, kicking it back to him for 2 minutes as well. Go ahead, Wotan.
So he shows two cubes falling at the same speed. That's not what that's in my premise, in my modest tolerance. In my modest tolerance, it specifically says specific. Okay, I want to see an experiment. Okay, with a ball or any object, whatever shape you want to have it. Okay, with water being adhering to that object by virtue of that object's gravity alone. That does not exist. That's not in reality. That doesn't happen. Okay, so there is no scientific experiment to demonstrate that claim. Therefore, using Richard Feynman's logic, it is wrong. Okay, I don't care how beautiful your theory is. I don't care how smart you think you are. If it does not agree with experiment, which the claim that water adheres to the exterior of a shape by virtue of gravity alone it's wrong. Okay, because there's no experiment to prove it. Okay, the second claim gas in a vacuum. How does that happen? Defies the logical definition of what a vacuum is. That's first of all. Second of all, okay, have an object attract gas inside that vacuum. Does that exist? No. So using Richard Feynman's logic, if it doesn't agree with experiment, it is wrong. It's wrong, period. And dead stop wrong. Okay, Richard Feynman makes it very clear in that video on YouTube that he has. He makes it very clear that it's not that it's just, oh, it could be true. No, he says it is wrong. It's wrong, 100% wrong. Okay. Third one. Okay, show me an experiment. Okay, which he didn't show. He shows 2 cubes falling at the same speed, which is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, it doesn't show anything. It doesn't show any single thing that I'm showing in my modest talents. Nothing. Okay, show me an experiment with a ball spinning inside of a vacuum chamber. Put a little gas inside that vacuum chamber, and then I want to see the gas get attracted to that object. Number one. Number two. Show me at what point does the gas ever? I don't care how fast you spin that object. Gas will never ever spin at the same speed as that object. It is impossible. Okay, so it's completely impossible. Okay, end of story. It doesn't exist. Your model of reality does not exist in reality. There is no way to scientifically demonstrate anything that you say. Do you understand that? The three most foundational, fundamental claims that absolutely must be true, which you agreed with, that those are absolutely 3 of the most foundational claims that you could possibly make about the baller. These 3 must be true. Otherwise, your model of reality is just wrong. Okay, there is no science to demonstrate it. Okay, I care about science. I like science. I like real science. Okay.
Sorry,
yeah, you can laugh all you want, but you're the asshole with no science.
We're gonna
you're the asshole with no science. You can laugh at me all you want.
I will.
Show me an experiment of anything that I said right now.
So first off, if we had a ball that was just floating and having a bunch of shit floating around it that was tiny, that would actually debunk the globe. So that's not even a valid thing to say in the first place. Second, within science, which I know you've never actually done you don't work in any kind of practical field where you have to use science, so you wouldn't know this. You don't have to directly do that. You can prove concepts. You can prove parts of it. I've shown that gravity works the way that we say it does using the VR or the AR thing, the HoloLens, whatever, and using the test for gravity, the physical experiment. So if we can show, yes, gravity is correct, we can then continue saying it can, in fact, if it is real, it can, in fact, hold water to a ball. That is the point, Wotan. By proving gravity, by showing, yes, we not only know it's there, but we can use it mathematically. You could use the formula to replicate it completely digitally. We know gravity is real. And if gravity is real, we've just confirmed that water can stick to a ball in space. Because we know that gravity can do that. That's the point. We've proven that point with an actual experiment. Now, the easiest way to debunk it is to debunk the experiment that I brought and just tell me why they both fell at the same time.
All right.
Go ahead.
Looks like switching it over. Go ahead, Wotan.
Does it necessarily follow, to quote Darth Dawkins, that just because 2 objects fall, at the same speed, that there is no other conclusion imaginable as to why those 2...
Just because you keep bringing this up,
I'm talking. Shut your mouth.
Shut up. Give him 2 minutes as well.
Go ahead.
Again, I'm going to repeat myself.
Go ahead.
Just because you show 2 objects falling at the exact same speed, does it necessarily follow that there are no other conclusions, no other remote, even possible other conclusions whatsoever that can possibly even fathom? That the only reason as to why those 2 objects are falling is because the Earth is this giant spinning flying ball that is attracting mass because of the space-time, it's bending the space-time continuum, which is causing an emergent non-force that is causing those 2 cubes to fall at the same speed. Does that make sense? Is that exactly what's happening?
Are you asking me is how gravity works?
Well, that's exactly what gravity is. Gravity is the bending of space-time, a conceptual medium. 2 concepts.
Well, no.
Yes. No, yes. Don't say no. Yes, that's exactly what gravity is. Gravity is the bending of 2 conceptual mediums.
Yes, Wotan, but the problem with your little thing that you just said is that, yeah, it could be something. It could be pixies pushing the cubes down because they're racing and they were just the same speed. The problem is we have this concept of what gravity is, and we test for it.
Concept.
We can find out
if
gravity is real.
Cool.
What?
You have anything real to talk about, or you just talk about concepts?
The 2 dropping cubes, Wotan.
Do you just show virtual reality all day? Just virtual reality CGI bullshit in your
you
presentation?
keep going back to that, Wotan. That was the other video.
Or do you have any
try that
actual real scientific experiments with real objects
that,
and no
that
concepts?
Ain't gonna go here.
Do you
Well,
have
We're not
anything
going to
real?
slide
We
that.
do want to jump back into these 2-minute intervals. If I remember right, is it Wotan? Your turn?
Yeah, sure. So, where do you start? This is absolutely ridiculous. No experiment of water around the ball. Number one, with these cubes falling at the same exact speed, how can you possibly even remotely assume that water is going to behave the same exact way and adhere to the ball earth in the same exact way that however you think it is? Right. So when we talk about the Cavendish experiment, Cavendish is with fucking wooden objects in a barn in the 1700s before science was even thought of. Okay, before science was even remotely imagined. Okay, they were running around with horse carriages and eating feces or whatever the fuck they were doing. Okay, absolutely ridiculous. He's weighing the earth in a barn. Okay, with wood. Okay, is water wood? Does water behave the same way as wood?
Yes.
Yeah,
Somewhat, yes. It's a physical thing.
Yeah,
It has mass.
Is water wood?
You have a little stroke there, Wotan?
Is
You
water
okay?
wood?
No, water is
water
not
wood?
wood. But ironically,
Water is
for your
not
shitty
wood, right? So do you
example,
have an experiment
wood has
with water
water
doing
in it.
that?
So that was a poor choice of material.
Water is not
for the
wood.
All
Do you
right,
have an
what we're going to
experiment with
do
water doing
is,
that?
Wotan, you have 50 seconds left in your statement.
Do you have an experiment with water doing that? Not wood, water.
Are you asking,
Crickets.
or are you just
Yes,
kind of
I'm
saying
asking.
it?
Crickets.
Okay, don't say crickets because I'm being polite to you, Wotan. I'm letting you
Crickets.
get your full thing out, so don't give me that shit.
Show me water around the ball.
Water is a physical thing, yes or no? You can touch
Yes.
it, you can interact with it, it falls. Excellent. So if one thing does it, and one thing looks like it does the same thing, how is that not the same? Wotan?
Wow. Okay. So I have a theory that
I have plastic.
No. I'm going to take your
Go
logic.
ahead,
I'm going
go
to crush
ahead.
it right now. I'm going to take your logic and I'm going to crush it right now.
Oh no.
Okay. If I take a brick, right, and I take a giant anvil, let's say I drop an anvil on top of a brick. What happens to the brick? It crushes, right?
Well, no. If you drop it straight on, it won't crush. It'll probably just.
Well,
splinter a
just
little
for argument's sake, you take an anvil heavy enough and you drop it on the brick will crack, it'll
Sure.
break, right? Okay. So if you do that with water, if you put an anvil, you put in water, is the water going to crack and crumble?
It's not going to crack and crumble, but it will be.
Right, because they're two different
just
fucking
the
things, because they
same
behave
way,
differently.
Wotan.
Because they behave differently. They're just
The
because they're
only
physical
difference
doesn't mean they
is
behave the same
water
way.
is kind of sticky
Right?
to
How
itself,
stupid is that?
but
How
it's
stupid could you
still-
possibly be to say that?
It still disperses when you see little bits of brick flying.
Oh, so
off,
it's crumbling?
you
Water crumbles.
Water
You
crumbles,
also
guys. See a
Wow.
bits of little
Water
water flying
crumbles.
off, don't you?
We could build water
Don't
houses now,
you?
guys. Why do we even use brick? We
Don't
just build
you,
water houses.
Wotan?
I mean, we got
Wotan,
water
address
beds.
the
We can just
point.
build water houses too.
Wotan,
According to this guy.
if I drop using your
Let's just
example,
let's
did,
just take
Hold
two
on,
we're gonna walk
giant
through it.
PVC
Hold on.
walls and just fill it with water
Wotan.
and just we'll
All
have a
right.
water house.
Wotan.
We are at the end of that timed segment.
Let's go to questions.
We'll kick it over.
James, this is ridiculous.
Hold on.
He has absolutely
Hold
not
on.
a single shred of
Get
evidence
addressed
the
whatsoever.
experiment
that
that I
shows
brought.
anything that
Kick
he
it
does
over.
not.
We do want to hear from Dell, so we'll
Goodness.
give Dell 2 minutes as well now, and then we'll go into
Not
2
a
minutes.
single
from
shred
Wotan.
of science at all. Nothing.
All right. Well, using your own analogy you just brought up, Wotan, if I drop a brick or an anvil on a brick, it splinters, it shoots everywhere, it goes there. What happens when I drop it in water? It goes shoots everywhere. Wow. It's a different physical thing, but it's still a physical thing, and it still acts similarly to a physical thing. And that's the problem with the analogy you just gave, because they will both shoot off into little bitty bits, and they'll go off into the side. So I don't get your analogy. You prove my point, because they're the same. If I drop an anvil, it'll go on either of them. Like
Water crumbles.
I don't get why you brought that up. No, it doesn't crumble, Wotan. It separates
How
in a
about
similar
wood?
way.
How about wood? If you take a lighter to wood, what
If you
happens
hit
to
it
wood?
hard enough, Wotan, have you ever seen wood
If
getting
you take
shot?
if you
It'll
take
shoot
fire
off
to
in a
wood,
little
what happens?
bit.
If you take fire to wood, what happens to wood?
Is an anvil fire?
If you take a lighter,
You can't just
To
say
wood.
that's not scientific, Wotan.
if you take a lighter, if you take a flame to wood, what happens to the wood?
What are you talking? It will
The wood
burn?
goes on fire, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens if you do that to water? Does water go on fire if you put fire to it?
If you heat it hot enough, it'll start dispersing.
No, does it go on fire?
Upward.
Does water go on fire?
Does water go on fire? Not if it's water.
Thank you. Okay, but they're both physical objects. They should both be in your fairy tale world.
Yes,
all
but you're
physical
still
things behave the
losing
same exact
energy
way,
going
right?
upwards, Wotan. because
Why do we even have
it's the same
solid?
in
Why
that
do we even have the
concept,
distinction between
Wotan.
solids and liquids and gases? They're all the
You made a
same.
bad analogy.
They're all the
again.
same. Why do we
If
even
I
have the
put heat to
distinction?
wood, it'll
Wait,
start
what's the
dispersing.
difference?
If
Everything
I
is the
put
same.
Heat to water, it'll start.
I could fill my bathtub with wood apparently with you.
Oh my
I
God.
could
I mean, you
take
could.
a
That would
wood-
be
I could
funny.
take a
I'd pay
wooden
to see
bath.
that. I'm sure you take
You see how
lots of
stupid
wooden
this
baths.
you see how
Wotan.
stupid this conversation got
You
with you,
love
buddy?
wood.
You see how stupid
It
this
is,
conversation
yeah.
got
Can you
because
address
you're
my
Alright.
experiment that I brought?
because you're a fucking retard. That's all.
Oh,
You're just
alright,
stupid. You're a fucking
alright.
but you're a
Gentlemen,
moron.
Let's
That's all.
let's
You're
get it
dumb.
back to the issues. People are excited to hear about the issues. People are excited to hear about any of these. By the way, it's interesting because it usually comes up during the flat Earth debates. If any either of you, have personally done any of these experiments,
Yes, I just did. That was my video. I have it on the desk. I can screen share right now.
you got
I
it.
have those arms on my desk.
But
I
those
did all
experiments
those
have nothing to do with my premises. Nothing.
They proved
absolutely,
gravity, Wotan.
positively nothing.
Wotan, they proved
Okay, so
gravity.
prove.
We have
So
the
that's the
gravity.
claim. That's the claim, buddy. Prove that
Yes.
gravity can do that. Prove that gravity can do that with
did.
water.
What are you
Prove that
talking?
gravity
It
can do
doesn't
that
matter
with
if you call it
gas.
gravity
Prove
or
that gravity can do that.
whatever
Prove it.
the hell else.
That's the claim.
It's a downward force.
You understand?
don't
Listen,
call
how
it
about this? How about this?
gravity.
I'll grant you. How about this? I will grant you gravity is real. How about that? The first
Well,
flat,
then
I'll
you have a
grant you just for the
very
sake of
severe
just for the sake of
problem.
argument. Just for the sake of the
Sure.
argument, I'm going to grant you
Continue.
that gravity is real. Show me with the scientific experiment that gravity can make water adhere to an object by virtue of its gravity alone.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Crickets.
if you wanna
Crickets.
play like that, if
Crickets.
I put
Crickets.
Wotan,
What is it? Go talk.
if I put water on my table, does it float off into space? No, it goes down and adheres to the
Why?
object.
Oh, why is
because of
that?
gravity.
Because you have a begging the
Uh-oh.
question logical fallacy that the Earth
I
has
don't think
gravity
that's
and that
what
the
that
Earth
is,
is
Wotan.
attracted. That's a begging the question logical fallacy
Uh-oh.
again. That's a begging the
Uh-oh.
begging the question.
Why does it go
logical
the same rate as
fallacy.
everything
That's the
else?
second
Wotan?
time. That's the second time you
Uh-oh.
begged the question.
Wotan, why does it go the same rate as everything else
That's
in
the
my
second
physical
time
experiment?
you begged the question. You're using your
Oh,
observation and
goodness.
your conclusion. That is a patent begging the question logical fallacy.
Wotan, the
You're
problem
making
is
yourself look like a
that
fucking
wasn't my
ass.
experiment. That was your
You're a
weird
moron.
analogy.
You are a
That
moron.
wasn't my
You're
experiment,
stupid.
Wotan.
We're going to let's
Okay?
stick
I
with
don't
the
need to be a
issues.
scientist.
Wotan,
I have formal logic. I have a
Wotan.
brain. That's all I
Really?
need.
This is an interesting and fun question. It's one that I had already asked to Dell as well. In particular, if you've done any of these experiments yourself, people usually get a kick out of that.
Wotan, have you done any experiments?
Have
I
you?
do.
These are your claims.
Yes, it was on my desk. I have that map right
Again,
here.
you're gonna go with that again?
It's
How
a
many
super
times am
cool
I gonna debunk
non-cut
that? How many
map.
times?
What? That
I told you that I'm going to grant you gravity. Can you show me that gravity can do that with water, please? Water. I want to
If
see
you've
water in your
granted me
experiment.
gravity.
I want to
then
see
we-
water in your experiment. Where's the water?
Why would I put water in my experiment?
Water around the ball.
You mean
Show
if I
me
drop
water around
two
the ball.
drops of
Show
water
me
and say-
water
hold on,
around
hold
the
on, hold on,
ball.
hold on.
Show me water around
Wotan,
the
I'm
ball.
asking to clarify.
Show me water around the
I'm
ball.
asking to clarify.
Show me water around the ball.
If I put two drops of water
Show
and they
me
fall the
water
same
around
amount-
the
Wotan,
ball.
we'll talk about water on the wall in a second, but just to let him finish this point.
I'm just wondering, are you saying I should redo the experiment with water so that I can see that water does the same
No,
thing?
I
as
don't
the
care if they
tube?
fall the same speed. I don't care if one falls
Oh my
1,000 miles
goodness.
an hour faster than the other. What does it make a difference? It makes no difference to the
It
claims.
makes a
that
difference because we have an understanding of
understand that?
gravity. We can then test that understanding.
So you're
and it can
assuming that
form-
that happens. It's
with
an
our
assumption that
understanding.
water behaves the same way. You don't
Let's
know
move on
that
to my
without an
second
experiment,
experiment.
do
I
you?
think this could be more fun.
You don't know
All
that
right,
without an
Wotan.
experiment, do you?
I'm telling you right now, in my second video.
You're assuming that water behaves the same
I'm
way.
not assuming. I'm telling you right now, Wotan. Just listen. Just listen up. In my second video, which was the VR or AR thing, mixed reality, I have a bunch of little dudes, and they're interacting with the physical world around me. They are falling off things. I can simulate a bouncing ball, which bounces accurately to the
VR.
mass it has in the simulation. Yes, Wotan. Do you know why that's important? Because we are using the formulas for gravity.
Wow.
And the
formula
results
said-
we get
wow.
look an awful lot like what we see in the real world.
You know what
doesn't
you
it?
could also put in that VR? So you're saying that just because that you could put in the VR, you can make the formulas of gravity
No.
5 times the values. And it'd be the
I
same
could,
thing,
but
right?
then it wouldn't be accurate to what we see, Wotan.
But so what? It just matters what you're putting into it, right?
But that's not the formula.
It doesn't mean
It
anything.
doesn't. We're putting in the
proving-
formula.
it's just-
We
it's not
understand
proving. It's
through
not proving that
science,
space
we have
time is
come up with
bending.
a
Is
formula.
it
We
proving
can
that
then
space time is
use
bending?
that formula.
Is it proving that
Don't
space
care
time
if
is
it's
bending?
space time, Wotan. We're not. That's off into the weeds.
But that's gravity.
then
That's
use-
exactly what gravity is. Without
We
space
can
time,
then
there's no gravity.
use that formula. I don't care what it is. You're off in the weeds. We can use that formula, and we somehow, in a completely math world, get the same, if not similar, results of things in the real world. That confirms that our understanding, at least to what we know, is correct to a point because we can replicate it completely
So your
and get
world
the
is correct
same
because VR.
results.
Can you please just
The
let
world
the
is
YouTube
correct
audience
because of
just-
math.
Just let the YouTube audience just say yes to that. So your
Wotan.
world is real because VR.
No,
Just say yes, please.
Wotan, no.
That'll just put the nail in the coffin.
The only reason I did that is because
just say it. I know you want to say it. I know you want to say it. I know you desperately want to say it.
Wotan,
just say VR is real, please. Just say VR is real.
Wotan, we have to let him respond.
You're not addressing the point.
Say VR is real.
That's not my argument.
Yes,
I don't know why
you're using VR to
it's
prove
not
your
my
reality.
argument.
Hold on.
You're using VR to prove your reality.
All right, Wotan, for real. Let's hear from Del.
Right.
I also
I'm
want
gonna
to hear.
succinctly...
This is if I can bring this up because it's interesting, it's juicy. I want to get both of your guys' opinion on it. We can talk about the science stuff, and that's fun, and it's engaging and everything else. But there's one thing that's also fun and interesting to think about. You could say social epistemology, namely, like how do we know who to believe? Because most of us haven't directly observed these things. And so, for example, if the Earth is flat, because trying to be as neutral as I can, if the Earth is flat, why is it or how is it that oftentimes it comes up, could there really be this big of a cover-up? Are all of the governments and all the space agencies in on it?
That's actually a good question. I think I could phrase that. Wotan, hold on. I'm going to say this really quick, and I think it might help us move forward. And it's on James's point, so I think he'll like it too. If the world was actually flat, why would they say that it's a ball? I just want to know your quick reasoning. Is it power? Is it money? Just say what
does it matter?
Okay, I'm just to say for the sake of this, it doesn't matter. They're covering it up. We agree on that. They're covering up that it's flat. That's the premise, yes?
Is $52 million a day from NASA enough?
No. So it's money. Why didn't you just say it was money?
Is the untold billions of dollars that Elon Musk is making from crashing rockets and wherever he's just launching rockets and they're just crashing? Is that worth it?
That's what I'm asking. I wasn't asking the reason. I'm asking, are they doing it for money? I'm not saying I don't. It's whatever reason.
It doesn't matter what the reason. I'm not going to play your stupid little game.
Okay, I'm going to say money because you brought up Elon Musk and NASA's budget. Great.
How about this? The reason is because pink unicorns are flying in the universe. What the fuck is the difference? What does that? It doesn't matter. Change the shape of the Earth.
So why, if the Earth was actually flat, looking at this from the conspirators' point of view, and they are going to hide it, and they're evil, and they're twiddling their little mustaches, they're like, I'm going to hide the shape of the Earth.
Twiddling their little hats on their head.
For whatever reason, why wouldn't they just say, across the ice wall is super radioactive and it'll kill you if you leave? Because that would be way easier.
Who says that?
If the Earth was flat, if it was flat in reality, and we were trying to cover it up and make people stay inside and not know and whatever the hell else, wouldn't it be a lot easier just to say, if you go past the ice wall, you'll die from radiation?
Who the hell says that? We can't go past
a certain amount of space. Nobody.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm asking, why in the hell would they come up with, instead of it being flat, as a ball in some space that raises a billion more questions and it would be so easy to debunk? Why wouldn't they just say...
I've debunked it conclusively tonight. You don't have any science on your side.
Why wouldn't they just say something simple?
You don't have science.
They just say, we can't leave and you would die.
It's been debunked. It's been long debunked. You don't have science.
We're not doing science. We're talking about the
we're not doing science now. We're getting into the round.
We're asking this thing.
What if?
Common sense,
you see YouTube. Can you shut up for a second? Can you shut up for a second and stop talking, please? Can you shut up for a second?
Go ahead.
My God, man. It's like I'm trying to get a point across and your freaking voice, man. Just be quiet for a second. Okay. I'm trying to stick to the science. I'm trying to ask you for experiments. I'm trying to ask you, I want to see real science. I want to see scientists, just objectively minded, brilliant, fucking intelligent PhD level scientists. I want to see them doing experiments. Okay. That's what I want to see. And you're fucking sitting here and telling me, number one, you said you don't have any experiments to prove what you believe. Okay.
I didn't say that.
Shut up. Shut up.
No, I did not say that.
Two little cubes prove everything that's in cubes, which is absurd.
You're lying, Wotan.
You said two little cubes.
Go ahead.
You said two little cubes prove everything which is in cube, which is absolutely absurd. And I already conceded. Not conceded. I said, just for the sake of argument, that I'm going to grant you that, let's say gravity is real. Can you show me an experiment to prove that gravity does that with water? No. Do you have an experiment to prove that, show me that gravity does it with air? No. Do you have an experiment to show me that air can possibly even revolve around an object at the same speed as the object is revolving? No. Okay, so that's what I care about. And you're trying now you're trying to sit here and tell me, oh, well, what if if the conspiracy is too big, this and that? Who cares, man? I want the science. You're going into the realm of conspiracy and the governments and this.
I'm going into the realm of conspiracy.
I don't care.
Yeah.
What's the reason? I don't
out
care.
there in the
How about
world.
this? The reason why they're covering up the bald is because pink unicorns are flying out of my asshole right now. What the fuck
That's
is the
a
difference?
good reason. I would cover that.
What's
up
the
here.
difference?
Just
Who
to be
cares what
sure
the
we
reason
get.
is?
Just to
That's
be
not
sure.
the
Okay.
point, Wotan.
So
Exactly.
like,
Exactly. That's not the
let's-
point. So why you
well,
harping
just
on
to
this
be-
point for?
just to
Who
be sure I
cares?
understand your
Oh
point.
my God.
So I think
The
Wotan.
reason doesn't matter.
Wotan,
Who cares what the reason
Wotan,
is?
I'm just trying to clear the air so people can see like exactly what's being said here. So I think you're saying there's a lot of money involved, and money is a powerful motivator. And I guess one question that I think Dell had asked, I could be wrong, Dell, let me know if I'm misunderstanding you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, like, you're asking, like, well, why would you get more money one way, namely saying that it's a flat earth, versus if you say it's
yeah,
over?
just in general. Why would you come up with this giant, we have rockets and we can leave and we can do all this and we can have this, we have a planet, we have tons of planets. Why wouldn't you just say, if you leave the ice wall, you die from radiation? Because they already say there's radiation out there. Why wouldn't they just make it
That's
super
not the
simple?
same question. But nonetheless, we'll give Wotan a chance
Yeah.
to...
So what if they did? Does that mean the Earth is flat?
What if they did what? If
they said the opposite of what you said, what if they did say that if you go past the flat Earth, you die of radiation? Does that mean the Earth is flat?
That's not the point, Wotan.
So what exactly? So who the fuck cares what the reason is?
Oh my goodness, that's not. You're not
On the
understanding.
reason as to what the reason is. I don't
Wotan.
care what the reason is. The
Because
reason
it's
is
stupid,
irrelevant.
Wotan. Because
It's
if you want to
irrelevant
go
to the
down to
discussion.
science, when you
The
get
reason
down to
is
it, the reason
irrelevant.
flat Earth isn't going to go anywhere ever.
The
because
reason
majority
is
of people that
irrelevant.
Do science,
Do you
see the
understand that? I
satellite
want to
photos
deal with
every
physical
day,
science.
and they say yes, that's real.
I
But
don't
you
care
can't
what
go
the
to
reason
science
is.
because that's what science says.
I don't care what the reason
Only-
is. It doesn't matter
Wotan,
what the
if you
reason
wanna
is. I
talk
care
about
about the science.
I've
Unlike
given you
you.
already that all the photos are fake just for the sake of the
I
discussion.
care about the science.
That's
unlike
what
you.
science is. Yes, Wotan. We've taken pictures of the Earth.
Is that science? Is a picture
Yes,
scientific
we've been to the
experiment?
moon. We've been to the
Is
moon.
it? Oh, here we go with the
Pictures of
moon.
the Earth.
Don't even get me started with the moon.
I will
Listen,
go to the moon, Wotan.
You're
I
going
would
to the
love
moon.
to go to that topic.
You're going to the
And I
moon.
would also love to go to the moon in general. Yeah,
You're
that would also be fun.
Oh yeah, one
And
thing.
isn't your whole argument that they lost the telemetry
Going
data
to the
and that's
moon.
One
Wait,
thing
wait, like the
before
stock market, we're
one
going
thing
to the moon,
before it
boys.
comes up, because for some reason I know
This
it's
is
coming, it's going to
ridiculous.
come up. There is a certain word that starts with a Q that we cannot say. YouTube has they will instantly, you could say, notice it and not like it. So don't say any word that starts with a Q. You probably know what group I'm referring to. Don't say it. But we also, folks, want to let you know we'll be going into the Q&A shortly, so just a few minutes. Gentlemen, do you have any sort of last kind of points or remarks that you'd like to make before we do go into that Q&A?
Well, I guess I don't know why you couldn't address the experiment because I don't care about water. I don't care about water. That's not my point. The point is the proving gravity. That's the whole idea. We can prove gravity because we have the math. We have the formula for gravity. We can demonstrate it with the robot arm, drop into things. Cool, it works in real life. We can then take that formula. We can go to a world that is pure math. We can put it in, and things in that digital world act pretty much the same way they do in real life, Wotan. They act the same way. So why is it, if we're wrong about gravity and wrong about Earth, why is it that when we go to a completely mathematical world, it works the same way?
You done?
Yeah, I'm asking a question. Go for it.
Okay. You keep saying you prove gravity. I told you that for the sake of argument, I will, just for the sake of
But
argument.
if you do that, you lose.
But
Hold
shut
on,
your
let's give him a
mouth.
chance to respond.
Can you mute him,
Go
James?
ahead.
You always mute me, James. You never mute the other person.
That's fair. Okay, I'm going to humor you, Wotan.
Okay, thank you.
He's right.
Just-
I muted
just for a
Wotan
few.
a lot tonight. Okay.
Okay. So I already conceded for the sake of arguments, just for the sake of argument, that I'll grant you that gravity is real. That the Earth, the mass of the Earth attracts objects. Can you show me with gravity, show me an experiment with gravity with an object that has gravity, okay, and make the gravity of that object attract water? No, that doesn't exist, okay? Can you make gravity, show me that gravity can make gas adhere to the exterior of a shape by virtue of that object's gravity alone? No, you don't have that. Can you show me that gas can travel at the same speed as an object is spinning inside of a vacuum chamber? No, You don't have any of them. Therefore, if P, then Q in this case. If this is not Q, so then not Q, not P. The debate is over. Flat Earth wins. You lose. You have no science. There is not a shred of science that is coming out of your lying mouth.
All right,
now,
let's go
okay?
to Dell.
Hey,
cubes
NASA pays me
falling.
good for this. So
Two
don't even
cubes
start
falling
that.
doesn't prove jack shit.
But you
Thank
already gave me gravity, Wotan. I don't understand why you're
Questions.
saying you gave me gravity.
Let's go to the
and then you're
questions.
telling
You
me to
lose.
prove. No,
You
no, no.
lost.
We're not going to
We'll jump
questions.
into those.
We're going to questions.
Why are you giving me gravity and then saying that I have to prove gravity, Wotan?
I'm not saying you have to prove gravity. I'm saying you have to prove gravity that it could do the things that you're saying that it does. With
What?
respect to water and air and gas.
But our understanding of gravity shows us that it does. If you give us gravity, you give
begging
us
the question.
gravity.
You
You
just love begging that
That is
question.
the question, Wotan.
beg it.
I don't
Just
get
beg
it.
that question, baby. Beg it. James, can we go to?
It
Can we go?
is.
I'm about to leave. Can we just go to questions because this is getting annoying. We're just going to circles, James.
Moderator.
We're going to
moderator.
circles.
Let's go to Q&A, moderator.
jump
We're going to circles.
Moderator.
This is over. You lost. I lost within the first 5
Q&A,
minutes. I
moderator.
really wanted to leave in 5 minutes.
All
I
right,
wanted
run,
James's
Wotan. Don't
timestamp
address
to be
the
5
physical
minutes.
experiment.
We're gonna jump in
Run away.
with
Run away.
this first question. 2 seconds. It's loading. Sorry, game. But we are excited to jump into the Q&A. Let me see here. Oh, thanks. Sigma Any, thanks for your super chat. First one says, don't forget 3 suns, the only proven reality. Thank you, Sigma Any. He's big on that. And thank you very much here, Sigma Any also says, explain why so few flat earthers are in engineering careers.
It's not an argument. Doesn't matter.
Gotcha. Well, to be fair, you could ask him. It's not
How
an
about this?
argument, but it is a question.
James,
So
I know you
want
would.
to
I know you would
humor
agree with this
people.
if I frame it this way. If I frame it this, why are there so few Christians in the field of evolution? Does that mean that evolution is false or evolution is true just because
There's a
there's so
lot
few
of Christians in
Christians?
evolution.
Hold on.
Right,
let's
but
let
in
Wotan
respect to
answer.
atheists, there's a lot more atheists in the field of evolution than there are Christians. Okay, so that's the argument does not follow. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that Christianity is false just because there's so few, disproportionately few Christians in the field of evolutionary science. It doesn't follow. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference. It doesn't matter if there's one Christian. It doesn't make Christianity false.
I see what you're saying. I think you're saying something to the effect of you're calling it a non sequitur.
Yes.
I think. Displaced Gamer, thanks for your questions. That I know flat earthers think the earth is flat, but how do you know the earth is round like your maps show? You can only use personal experiments to prove.
Uh-oh, not very unscientific, Wotan.
Well, what
Any
happened? That was for me. I
experiments?
didn't know that was for me.
Yeah, it was for you.
Yes,
they
I
said,
think it
how
was.
would
I
you
heard
prove...
round earth, my brain turned off.
He
Round
said,
is not
I
a
know
sphere."
flat earthers think the earth is flat, but how do you know the earth is round like your maps show? Namely, they're talking about like the pictures of flat earth that are out there from flat earthers. They say you can only use personal experiments to prove things, right?
So that's for the round earth that he's asking.
No, that's for you. He's asking, how do you know it's not a hexagon or an octagon? How do you know it's a circle?
He just said, how do you know the earth is round?
Yes,
I think he means
That's for the round earth.
He said
That's
to
for
the
you.
flat earther.
Well,
How
no,
do
he
you
didn't say
know?
that. But
Was
to be
that the other question? It must have been the other one.
he
The point
didn't
is-
say he didn't say to the flat earther, but I think that Wotan he's referring to, like, if you ever look at like maps of a flat earth from flat earth people that are putting them out there, they're usually like round shaped. I think that's what they're saying is like,
Well,
how do you know?
I don't agree with any map that's out there. I'm not a cartographer. I don't, I use basic logic, formal logic. If you can't show me an experiment to prove your fairy tale religion of the ball earth, then all I'm left with is my observation, which is that the earth, I go outside, I see the horizon is flat. I don't feel anything spinning. Therefore, the earth is flat and motionless until you can prove otherwise.
Gotcha.
That's
Stephen
it.
Steen, thank you very much for your question. Says John Depew said he wants to debate flat Earth. Hit him up. I didn't know that. I don't know who
Who's
John
that?
Depew is. Bubblegum Gun. John Depew. Is that one of your friends, Wotan?
No, I never heard of him.
Next up, Bubblegum Gun says, Google how the Parthenon correct visual distortion. Well, I don't even know what that means. Next on, Displaced Gamer says we can see Mars from Earth with a consumer telescope. We see it. I think maybe they meant when do we see it? Folks, I got to tell you, I love you guys, but it's okay if you do a quick spell check of your super chats, because sometimes, like, even if I read it several times, I'm like, I still don't know what they're saying. So we want to read super chats, but sometimes I'm like, so I think they're saying we can see Mars from Earth with a consumer telescope. We do see it spinning, and why is it round? Would this make Earth round too?
I mean, this is literally like, these are the questions. I call them day one arguments, or day one questions. So like when you're introduced to a new frame of thinking, a new idea or something, you come up with very elementary, basic questions, the most basic questions that you can possibly ask. The fact that this guy's asking this is probably the first time this guy's ever watched a flat Earth debate in his life. And if that's the case, that's fine. Okay, but I'll just explain it. Okay, so if every planet in the sky was a triangle, does that automatically mean that the Earth is a triangle also? No. You could assume that. But that doesn't mean that that's the case. It could be anything, right? So like the classic example, right? The pool table. You have a bunch of billiard balls on the pool table. They're all round, right? And from your perspective, if you're on a pool table and you see all these pool balls, they're all round, you're going to think that the pool table's round, but it's not. It's flat. So it doesn't matter what you see. I don't care if you're in a forest and all you see is trees. That doesn't mean you're a tree.
Gotcha. And thank you very much for your question. This one coming in from Steven Steen, nasty guy, says, John Depew is interested in debating universalism with Mr. Batman. Does anybody in the chat know who John Depew is? I don't know. Anybody in the Twitch chat or the YouTube chat?
I have no idea.
Frank the Tank says, I love Wotan. Dell is pretty cool too. Hashtag alpha males. True.
Alrighty.
Next up, Tim Pryor says, until Wotan can name one field a science, I think they meant field, one field of science that backs up flat Earth, he should not be allowed to even talk about science.
I'd agree with that. That's a good standard.
Do you have any science to prove your globe Earth?
Wotan, I was the only one that came with a physical experiment.
Again, bro. I'm not going over it 1,000 times, bro. I'm not. I don't want to hear it.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to hear it. I've already destroyed everything that you believe. I'm sorry. The debate was over the first 5 minutes. I really wanted to leave the debate and have James's timestamp at his video 5 minutes. He would have got 1 million views.
Now we just talk about like
100%. He would have got 1 million views on this video. World record fastest flat Earth debate in the history of flat Earth debates.
Next up. Thank you very much for your question. Abdullah Ibn Iblis, good to see you, says, go home already. I don't know what they mean, but Anthony Dickinson, thanks to your super chat as well, says, blessings to you, Wotan. How do you deal with such nonsensical questions as these? Huge round one victory for flat Earth. You are the record holder, brother.
Thank you very much, SMD.
Juicy, and Nephilim Free throws his hat into the ring. Good to see you, Nephilim Free.
I like Nephilim Free.
That's right.
We've discussed a few times.
Your father, Nephilim Free, is in the chat, and he says,
my father.
To flat earthers also think there are green monsters living in the earth waiting to take over the world. LOL.
That's not true.
Oh, snap. He just batted you down.
No, that's not true. I like Nephilim Free, absolutely. Like, I love anybody who destroys evolutionists and atheists. I absolutely respect that. So we may not agree about the shape of the earth, but just let Nephilim Free know. Nephilim, I was a lifelong militant atheist, and flat earth completely changed that 180 degrees. I now believe there is definitely some kind of a creator. It has to be. There's no way there are no atheists on flat earth.
Juicy. Let's see. Happy Dude, thanks for your super chat. Said, LOL, thanks for this debate. I needed this. So glad you enjoyed it. By the way, our guests are linked in the description. We love our guests. We appreciate them. And that includes, if you're listening to the Modern Day Debate podcast, we link our guests there in the episode description box as well. Bubble Gum Gun says, Wotan, YouTube centrifugal divergence, second video.
All right.
YouTube rankings must be the same for everybody, right? Yeah, they must be, because that's why everybody talks about, like, if you can get a video ranked. But nonetheless. Also, folks, jumping into this next question, we do appreciate this one from Tim Pryor. Says, making water stick around a ball due to gravity is a straw man. Wotan is implying that we can make a ball with a stronger gravitational force than the Earth itself. He is demanding an impossible experiment.
Yeah, I said that. If we could do that, it would debunk the globe, not
What
prove
was
it.
that? Say that one more time.
They said, making water stick around a ball due to gravity is a straw man. Wotan is implying that we can make a ball with a stronger gravitational force than the Earth itself. He is demanding an impossible experiment.
It debunks itself. The
It
scientific.
doesn't, Wotan. If we
Shut
could do
your
that-
mouth. Shut up.
If
Hold
we
on.
could do that,
Shut
then
your
it would
mouth.
debunk the globe, Wotan.
We do have to let Wotan
Your
respond.
misunderstanding does
My
Hold
not
on, we
question,
have to let
shut your
Wotan
mouth.
respond.
Shut up. Okay? He debunks himself in the question. In the very question, he's debunking himself. He said himself that the experiment is impossible. Ergo, the belief in that hypothesis is impossible. Anything that is impossible to prove is impossible to believe. Next question.
Next up, this one. Well, if you guys want to banter back and forth on that one, I can let you. It sounds like Del.
Well, I'll give you just this. That's a stupid question because you came up with the experiment, Wotan. Globe Earthers aren't saying, well, we have to do this to prove it. You came up with
No,
a
you
shitty
do. That's your
experiment,
claim. You need
and
to
now
back up.
you're bitching
Extraordinary
that we
claims
aren't
require
doing your
extraordinary
shitty
evidence. Call
experiment,
Sagan.
Wotan.
Call
That
Sagan.
doesn't work.
Extraordinary claims
That
require
doesn't
extraordinary evidence.
All right,
Call, you
we're
know what
gonna
Carl
You
Sagan
jump
is?
to
And
the
one
next
of the
one.
world's
would
greatest
debunk
scientific
the
minds.
globe.
Next
The
up,
fact
Tim
that
Extraordinary
Pryor.
claims
shows that it's
require
true.
extraordinary evidence.
Next
Your
up,
claim,
Tim Pryor.
you prove it.
We've got all right.
Alrighty.
Tim Pryor's got another question. He says, "Now he's lying. I've seen people show him experiments in debates. Him not liking the experiment does not mean it did not happen."
Okay, so when I debated Team Fuckstick,
All right. He's not here to defend himself. Let's be
No,
nice.
no,
to
I
Team.
didn't say his name. I said a different word, so people that don't know
You-
him, they don't know who
It's
he
from
is.
now on. It's
Wotan.
Team.
Okay, so when I asked him to show me an experiment of water around the ball due to virtue of gravity alone. You know what he showed me? He showed me in the fake. Well, let's just for argument's sake, let's say it's real. The ISS. He showed the astronauts have water around the camera, but the gravity of the camera is absolutely nowhere near the gravity of the ISS. So if by that logic, if it was the gravity that was making the water stick around the camera, then the water would have just flung in every single direction because the ISS's gravity is far more than that little camera. Okay.
Holy
Number one.
shit,
Number
that's
two,
dumb.
the reason why water sticks to objects is because of adhesion. Water it adheres to things. Okay, it sticks to things. Okay.
You
Has
just
nothing to
debunked
do
the
with
second
gravity.
part with the first.
It has
lesson.
nothing to do with gravity.
Next up, this one comes in from Tim Pryor. Is it no? It was Sigma Any. Sorry about that. Says it gives me warm fuzzy feelings that the flat earthers are rare in science and engineering fields. I like my bridges, structures, tech, etc. to actually work.
So flat
It
Earth
is
is one of
nice.
the fastest rising movements, whatever you want to call it, quite possibly in
Really
history. I'm
not.
pretty sure.
It's
There's
not.
plenty of people who are engineers, who are bridge makers, who are this and that, who they just come to the realization that the Earth is flat. So I think it's a pretty bit of a like. There's no way that you can possibly know. Like there's a lot of things.
We
like,
know
you know,
because bridges
of
start
course,
falling
with-
down everywhere.
There was a guy, Mark. What was his name? Mark something. Mark
Hamill?
Armitage, something like that. He was a creationist, creationist evolutionist. He lost his job because he found proteins inside of a bone. So by him saying that he found
Oh my
proteins inside of a
goodness.
bone, he lost his job. So there's risk of you losing your career, you losing your job. There was an engineer. There was also an engineer on Flat Earth. There was an actual engineer. He was a civil engineer or something like that. I forgot his name. He was from Florida. Okay. Some other guy, some globe earther who was also a YouTuber, had his license revoked. And they showed he showed the engineering board their videos and they wind up revoking his license or something like that. He had to go into hiding.
Wait. I have never heard that somebody got their license revoked for a YouTube
Whatever it
video.
was. Listen, okay, you got me there. I don't know exactly what happened, but he
That's
had to go.
goofy.
He had to go into hiding. He completely removed his channel. He removed his Facebook, everything, all of his social media. He just completely disappeared.
Well, that's because he was wrong and he got shown.
No.
he was wrong.
Yeah, but it doesn't
And
matter.
for the
It doesn't matter.
protein, I'll do this in 30 seconds. For the protein inside the bone, first off, he was pushing his bullshit is why he got kicked out. And second,
Oh,
that would
by
be
your
really
standards,
cool. Being a scientist, that would be cool to find. I would be all for that. They wouldn't kick him out. They would give him a Nobel Prize if he was correct.
Yeah, that's what
That's
you
what
think. That's the
science is.
that's the fairy tale delusion of
Finding
science.
scientific-
Everybody who believes in
Wotan,
science
that's how you get
literally thinks
funding.
that science is the most objective thing in the world. It's not like that because we have people who are corrupt, who are in the fields of
Wotan,
science. Science
you
as a
make money
concept is perfect.
You
Okay,
make
so
money
like the
in
way that
science
Richard
for
Feynman.
showing that others are wrong.
You're just gonna let me? You're just gonna talk over me, or you just
Well,
the way
you're wrong.
Richard Feynman frames science is the single
Oh my
most
goodness.
perfect framing of how science is, the most beautiful, eloquent way. I love the way Richard Feynman thinks. I agree with him philosophically 100,000%. Okay, anything that he says about science, I love what he says. Okay, but that doesn't
Next up.
exist in our world.
The Crawdaddy
Okay? Because we have people who are
029.
corrupt, who have
Okay.
paychecks.
Next up,
Okay,
the Crawdaddy
that's
Wotan,
how
you
it's
make money in
029.
science for
All right,
debunking.
we're going to jump to the next one. The
It's not like
Crawdaddy
that,
029
yeah.
says,
All right.
James, what is the shape of the Earth? Triangle. Next up, thank you, Tim Pryor, for your question. Said, you guys can't try to pull me into the debate. Next up, Tim Pryor says, dip a basketball in water. It's all evenly wet. There's water conforming to the shape
Due
of
to
the
adhesion,
object.
because the
Hold
water
on,
is
let me finish
adhering
the
to the
question.
object.
They even put "Shut up, Wotan" at the end of it. It's like they knew.
That's good.
I'm
like
actually
it.
serious though.
He
It
knew I
says-
was gonna interrupt.
I'm saying, quote, they said verbatim, dip a basketball in water, it's all evenly wet. There's water conforming to the shape of the object it's on. Shut up, Wotan. I'm dead serious.
Okay, that has
Go ahead, Wotan.
absolutely nothing to do with gravity. Nothing at all. Next.
I think that maybe they're asking, like, what is it then if it's not gravity?
It's adhering. It's
Why is it dripping
sticks to
down
it.
the ball, Wotan? Why is it dripping down?
Come on, listen, buddy.
Why-
Listen. Don't play stupid with me. You know damn well that the reason why water sticks to a basketball is not because of gravity. Don't
I
play
didn't
fucking
say
stupid with me.
sticks.
Okay, don't play
I said,
stupid.
why is it dripping down?
Don't play stupid with me.
I
Gotcha.
said,
Okay,
why
next
is
up.
it dripping down? Let's
Juicy.
continue.
Because the invisible
I like
fairies are
your-
flying out of my ass and they're pulling them down. That's why.
Your gusto.
What's the difference?
Next up, we'll talk about that later. But Kango24, I think you says, Wotan, every aspect of your day-to-day life is built on physics that you deny. Enjoy your computer, clown.
Yeah, because we have computers, the earth is round. Wow, great logic. Next.
Next up, let's see. We have a question from Kango24 again. Says, question for Wotan. When designing a car or cell phone or microwave or vibrators, do you think engineers might need to use some math?
Of course.
Gotcha. And
Of course.
next up,
This question.
so you're not an anti-math type of
No, of course not. I love science. I love math. But the thing is, with the globe earthers, they don't have it.
Juicy.
Wotan.
They have
Oh,
math.
goodness.
I'll say they have math, but like some people they build up. They have science is all these mathematical concepts which has no relation to reality, which is what Tesla said. One of the single
guy who talked
greatest
to
scientists to
pigeons.
ever live.
Oh,
There's
yes.
no scientist
The
after
great
Tesla.
truth teller.
Tesla is the
pigeon
greatest
whisperer.
scientist of all time, no question, dead stop. Okay?
Yes,
and he
definitely.
knew the fallacy of the scientists 100 years ago. He knew how bullshit.
I'll just say this, Wotan. This is really easy and simple and quick. Everything that he did was super cool back then, but now it's like a first or second year electrical engineering degree. It's
Yeah,
not
really
that.
free energy. Yeah, wow, free energy. That's
He
the first
didn't
second
do
degree.
free energy,
Are
Wotan.
you sure about that? You sure? How do you know?
Yes, I
How do
am
you know?
sure about that.
How do you know?
Because it is
Why did
not
the FBI confiscate all those
possible.
documents? Listen, I don't want to go
I
into
don't
Tesla.
think
I don't want
they
to
did.
keep it to flattered. Next question. I don't want to get into this.
Next up,
question.
this one coming in from Tophot2. Good to see you. Says, by the way, huge thanks to Tophot2. Folks, I don't know if you know it, but all of our emoticons in Twitch were made by Tophot2. So check those out if you haven't already, folks. And thanks so much for your question. Says, I don't know if you drink alcohol, James, but buy yourself a drink of something. You earned it this debate. It has been a wild one. I was sweating. Oh, it's always the ones that I sweat that are the good ones. But Tim Pryor says, he said, for the sake of argument, he will concede that gravity exists. Then, in the same breath, wants proof of gravity. And he calls
Yeah, I
other
asked that
people.
question too.
No,
They
that's
said,
not what I said.
and they said, and he calls other people morons.
That's not what I said. In my premise, it says here, I'll read it again in my notepad. It says, if the earth is round, water is adhering to the ball due to gravity. So gravity is included in the premise. So in order for you to prove Q, you need to show that gravity can make water adhere to the exterior of a shape by virtue of gravity.
But you gave
alone.
us gravity.
And that doesn't exist.
No, you gave it to us for the example, Wotan.
You're
It
not
doesn't, just 'cause
understanding.
you
You're
gave
not
it to us.
focusing. To channel Dark Dawkins, you're not focusing.
Nobody,
You need to focus.
you lose for citing
You
Dark
need to
Dawkins.
focus.
The guy who literally
You
follows
need
the
to
script and gets
focus.
pissy if
All
you
right.
You
marry.
need
Yeah.
to focus.
Next
You're not focusing.
on.
Darth Dawkins is the last
You're not
person you should
focusing.
source Wotan.
You need
For
to
your own
focus.
good.
You
Don't
need to
source
focus. You're not focusing.
Wotan. For
Next
your
up.
own good.
Next
Don't
We are
question.
going to jump into this next
Go
one.
ahead.
We appreciate your question. By the way, I got to tell you guys, I can't. It's hard for me to like withhold. It's hard for me to like not say it because I'm so pumped for it. Tomorrow we're debating whether or not Noah's Ark has ever been found. Brand new topic, a juicy, concrete, empirical topic in the realm of science. I want to let you know about that, folks. I am so excited about that. But anyway, Kango24 says, "Hey, Wotan, I'm walking here."
I'm walking over here. You don't see me fucking walking over here. I'm trying to go to the fucking store, get a cup of coffee. I want to go on my porch and grab a glass. And the schmuck doesn't want to let me fucking walk over here.
Next up, Kango24 says, "Wotan, look at Jupiter. It's a giant ball of gas in space. You can do a simple observation and see it. Does Jupiter have a dome around it?"
Yes, Jupiter is a dome.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's an invisible dome made by fairies and leprechauns. The leprechauns, they shoot
The fact that I couldn't
dust
tell you were joking
in
at
the
first
air.
says it all. I think
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Gotcha, and thank you very much for your question.
Yeah.
This one coming in from, you guessed it, the Crawdaddy029 strikes again. He says, "Wotan, if you do leave, will you ever come back? Attacking the argument and not the person. It would be awesome to never hear flat Earth bull crap."
Now, when did I attack the person? I'm attacking his arguments. He doesn't have experiments.
I showed you a physical experiment.
I never once slandered Dull. I never once attacked his character. Okay, yeah, I may have called him a moron or whatever, but I didn't use it as an
Well,
argument.
yeah, but I called you a fucking idiot too, so I don't really care.
That's cool.
about
We're
that.
even.
I don't care about first. I don't care.
Gotcha. Let's see.
You live near New York? Maybe we'll have a beer after this.
I don't, but I would be up for that, Wotan. You're not a terrible person. I don't hate you.
I'm not bad.
think
What do
you're
you mean?
wrong, but I don't.
Oh, I
like
see.
you,
I may be
you know.
wrong.
I think
You need to prove that.
the Crawdaddy.
You know what I mean.
Hold on, one second. One moment, because the Crawdaddy 029, I think what they're referring to was when you occasionally told Dell to go F himself or whatever else you said to him. They're saying you're attacking the person when you do that.
Okay, you got me. Sure.
I don't give a shit. You're fine.
Next up,
As long as you don't bitch when I do it to you.
Let's see.
Nah.
Dell kind of
I'm a
likes it.
steel wall. You can't
Next
insult
up,
me.
Kango24 says, "Wotan, these days, one question. What? Kango24, is this like some sort of you punking me? I don't know what this says. They said these day one questions have never been answered with any explanation that makes any sense.
These day one questions, because he called them day one questions.
Oh, day one.
Yeah.
With a
Day
hyphen.
like the
Okay,
first day.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes,
That was
okay.
weird though.
I get it. It is like the hyphen. I don't know. I get it now. Okay. Thank you. They said that's why they are asked again. You have nothing.
I just answered your day one question of if you see round planets in the sky, that doesn't necessarily follow that the Earth is round just because you see round planets in the sky. It demonstrates that's pure inference. You're just assuming. You don't know that that's true.
Gotcha. And thank you very much for your question. This one coming in from Bimmy says, "I don't think there are no atheists in flat Earth, quote unquote." That they're saying, I don't think, this is my fault. Sorry, I'm not reading this well. They said, "I don't think the phrase, quote unquote, there are no atheists in flat Earth is the best endorsement for Christianity."
Yeah, it's probably not helping your case.
I've
I
heard,
don't
I remember
really care about religion.
something.
There was
Not
a
religious.
flat Earth atheist though, and he debated a Christian. So I remember at least one.
To be fair, I do remember on Non Sequitur show, this is like years ago,
Yeah,
like 3 or
yeah.
4 years ago, I remember there was a fellow, I think he was saying it was the topic of flat Earth, that I'm trying to remember if it was, but I think he said that there are surprisingly like some, well, technically though, they wouldn't necessarily have to be atheists, because I think he said they're non-religious, but I remember, you guys remember Jeff Doherty? We want to get him back on the show, but he no-showed me the last 2 times I tried to book him.
Oof.
But yeah, I know, tasteless joke. But Tim Pryor, thanks for your question, says, "All science backs up the globe. Wotan, get with it."
Okay, you have an experiment?
Get with it, Wotan. Come on.
You have an experiment?
No.
No? Okay, well, then therefore it's wrong.
Juicy.
If it doesn't
Well,
agree
my
with
name's
experiment,
Dell.
it's
I have
wrong.
to say it.
If it doesn't agree with experiment, it's wrong.
Tim Pryor, appreciate your question, said they literally have to formulate gravity into making aircraft, Wotan. If gravity wasn't the real aircraft,
I don't
if
think that's
gravity
true.
wasn't real, the aircraft would not work. better tell airplane designers they are doing it wrong, Wotan.
Listen, there is something pulling things down to the earth. No one denies that. Okay, it's absolutely ridiculous to deny that because it's one of the most fundamental, obvious truths that you can imagine. It's used in arguments all the time to demonstrate how something is so obviously true. Okay, what is causing that is the issue. He believes it's because the bending of space-time, two conceptual mediums, which have somehow amalgamated into one omnipresent, ubiquitous
Time is not conceptual.
physical construct, which comprises the entire universe. Okay, because something is inside of this conceptual medium that it bends, like the high school demonstrations when they have that big round object, like that big round table, and they have the tablecloth in the middle. They put the ball in the middle of the tablecloth, and then they spin the coin around it. Okay, that's literally what you believe. Okay, that's what we're contending. Okay, I don't think that some completely hypothetical bullshit space-time continuum is bending because of objects existing in it. It's ridiculous. Okay. It's absolutely absurd. That's what we're contending. What's causing it is the problem, not what it is.
Gotcha. And this one comes in from Top Hot 2. Appreciate it. Said, could we perhaps see the evidence Wotan has brought in favor of a flat Earth?
I don't need any. Because like I said,
no comment.
Because like I said, you go outside, you see the horizon is flat.
What's
you
that
go outside,
quote you kept
shut your mouth. Shut up.
I don't remember.
Right.
Shut your mouth.
Dell, I'll let you have a response,
but
let's just let Wotan
You need to focus. Shut your mouth. I go outside, I see the horizon is flat. I go outside, I don't feel anything spinning. Therefore, the baseline thing the most simplest pragmatic conclusion that you could come up with is that the Earth is flat, and it is not moving because the horizon is flat and you don't feel anything moving. Anything after that, anything to say otherwise, the burden of proof is on you, okay? And I've asked him for the burden of proof. He doesn't have it. So therefore, all I'm left with is my observation, which is the horizon is flat. I don't feel anything spinning. And if you're going to say anything otherwise, you need to prove it.
What do you think, Dell? Are you persuaded?
I think he gave me gravity, so I don't know why he's going on that.
For the sake of arguments.
For the sake
but if
you give us gravity, the flat Earth collapses into the
arguments.
wall. That's the problem.
For the sake of argument, I gave it to you. I don't actually believe it. For the sake of argument, I gave it to you. Next.
Okay.
This is juicy. Yeah. Okay, Kango24 says the bending of space-time has been shown to be real with the LIGO experiment.
LIGO.
That's the bending, the light bending.
Is that Dell?
I haven't looked much into LIGO. Alexa, what's LIGO? That's easy.
According to Wikipedia, Lego is a line of plastic construction.
Well, I guess we're talking Lego.
Toy company. Okay, Dave
Of course,
Langer.
the globe has Alexa.
Thank you for your question. Darth Revan says.
Alexa, stop.
We got Darth Revan says, "Where is Wotan's experiment for his creator, or he doesn't have one? Guess his creator likes his flat Earth." In that, Darth Revan is saying. So yeah, they're saying, "Where's your evidence for this?"
The flat Earth is the proof of the creator.
Gotcha.
We're on a flat, motionless plane. The stars in the sky. The stars. Shut your mouth.
Right.
That's my question.
We'll come right back.
You need to focus. The Earth is flat and motionless. The sun and the moon, which provide us the life on Earth that we need, are spinning around over our heads for us. The stars are spinning around our heads for us. The planets are spinning around our heads for us. And you're going to sit there and tell me that that's not a design system? People are using the stars and the constellations for keeping time and traveling for thousands and thousands of years. And this is not evidence of some kind of a intentional creation. If that's not evidence of a creator, then nothing is.
Gotcha. This one coming up from Kango24 says, oh, we got that one about Lego. And then Mark Reed, thanks for your question, says, Wotan, you can see mirages in the desert as well, Wotan. Does that mean that there is actually water there?
Isn't it water vapor? What causes that? The humidity in the sky causes the mirages?
I could be wrong. This is my best guess on the context. That they're maybe saying, like, if Mark Reed, if this is wrong, forgive me for totally butchering it. I don't know if Mark Reed is maybe referring to, like, kind of an optical illusion of, like, things that, especially with regard to the element of distance, may look different than they actually are. I think they're trying to refer back to your, you step out the door in the morning, you look and the Earth looks flat. I think. I don't know if I could be wrong. I'm kind of reading into it.
What, in respect to
yeah.
mirages?
They're not saying they work the exact same way, but I think they're saying that there's a similar principle at work, namely that due to, for example, distances, perhaps for different reasons in terms of the mediator, we nonetheless kind of see things differently than they actually are.
Okay, so prove it. I see the horizon is flat, and I don't feel anything spinning. So you're saying it's spinning? Okay, prove it. You're saying
I think its point is that
you're
we know
saying it's
mirages
round, prove it.
exist.
Next up, this question from Dave Langer says, question for Wotan, when you are in a plane and don't feel it moving, does that mean it's not moving?
You're in a closed atmosphere in a plane, aren't you? Are you not? You're not outside.
Gotcha.
If you're on the wing, if you're on the wing, do you think you're gonna feel it? I think you feel it if you're on the wing, right?
Gotcha. King024 says, Wotan, looking at the horizon at sunset or sunrise shows the earth is not flat.
You could take a quarter on a table and move the quarter past the table, and you'll see half the quarter. If the table's long enough, you're gonna see half the quarter. So what's the difference? If it's long enough, even then it'll wind up disappearing, and your eyes will be right at the level of the table. What's the difference? That doesn't prove anything.
Okay, and Robert Summers says, by Wonton's logic, oh, I remember that old nickname. Do you still like to be called Wonton? No? Okay,
No,
Wonton's
Wotan.
logic. They say, we are on a motionless square, and I don't need proof for that. He must now show me it's flat as a positive claim.
No, it's basic observation. I'm not saying that it's fundamental. It's absolutely true just because your observation. I'm saying that that's what I see. I go outside, I see the horizon flat. I don't feel anything spinning. Therefore, if you're going to say otherwise, you need to prove it. The burden of proof is on you, right? If I went outside right now, let me give an argument. If I went outside right now, let's say the diameter of the Earth was 100 times smaller. If you go outside on an Earth that's 100 times smaller, it would be like living on a basketball. You would see the curvature everywhere. It would be like, obviously the buildings would be sideways and toppled all the different directions. Okay, so now imagine somebody back in that world saying, listen, you're not on a round Earth, even though you're seeing the buildings tilting different directions, and you obviously see the curve of the Earth from left to right. It says no, the Earth is actually flat. Would you believe him? No.
Gotcha.
He's gonna need to prove it, right? The burden of proof is on him now, right? Okay, there you go.
Next one comes in from Joseph Mass. Says, Wotan says, I look outside and I see a flat horizon, therefore flat Earth. But in the same breath, he says that round planets can't mean a round Earth. Because
that's basic inference. You're saying that just because there's commonality in the sky, that commonality is what the Earth is. You're just appealing to possibility. You're just appealing to what you see in the sky, and you think that's what the Earth is. But meanwhile, when you're on the Earth, right? You're on the Earth and you look up in the sky, you see all the objects around. But when you look on the Earth, on the horizon, everything is flat, right? So that's going against your own logic, right there, is it not?
Juicy and Bubblegum Gun says, please Google Parthenon correct visual distortion.
Was that a second one that said that, or did you just read it again?
That is a second one. They're really big on this.
What is it now? I'm going to actually do it if you keep saying it.
Parthenon, like P-A-R.
Like the Greeks?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Parthenon's what? It shows correction?
Parthenon correct visual distortion. Juicy. Wotan, yeah, it's just showing me all I'm seeing. Oh, I see. So there's apparently with the Parthenon that you were referring to, the Greek temple, there's apparently some sort of interesting optical illusion. I'll have to look that up. I don't know about it yet, but thank you for your question. This one coming in from Tim Pryor says, so basically, Wotan agrees gravity exists. He just does not like the name that they've given it.
Yeah, again, I make it specifically clear that I'm granting gravity for the sake of argument, and automatically all the morons say that, oh, he thinks gravity's real. Come on, I said it 100 times before I even said my statement that I'm just giving it to you just for the sake of argument. It's ridiculous. It's like you got to put it in black and white letters, and you got to draw things in red crayon for some people. It's absurd. Come on. Damn.
Next up. Thank you for your question. Robert Summers says, so you never have the burden, LOL. A motionless cube shouldn't have said square. Fits your observation.
Who says it's a square?
I think he's just saying it fits the observation too.
Well, that's not
It could be
what
a
I believe. I
cube
don't
or it
believe
could
it's
be
a square.
No. He's saying that the observations that you're making could also fit a square or a cube.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, I think the point is you can't say it's flat. You can.
Why can't I say it's flat? If I see the horizon is flat, why can't I just
Because
automatically
the same
assume
thing
that's
would
flat?
be visible on a cube, is what is his
A
point.
cube is flat, is it not? One side of a cube is flat.
Okay, so
A cube is not flat.
A cube is
Dude,
not flat.
well,
Wow,
I
that's a
think
new one.
like
No, a cube
Wow,
is three-dimensional.
well, depending
That's
on
a
how
new
we
one.
define it. So like I think you mean like flat in the sense of like on the top of it is smooth and not like
Right.
ever
The
rounded
surface that
off.
we're living on is flat, as far as we know. Anything otherwise, anything you say otherwise, the burden of proof is on you.
So you'd say
End
it's
the
not,
story.
So you don't think it's anything like a disc?
I have no idea what shape it is. I
Right.
can't make claims. You will never hear me ever make claims to things that I don't know.
So you're open to it being either a disc or a square.
I have no idea what it is. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I know it's
And
flat. That's it.
Sure.
this one, Dave Langer says, question for Wotan. Do you know using a gyroscope shows the Earth's rotation? That is an experiment anyone can
Thanks,
do
Bob.
for themselves.
There's plenty of people debunking the gyroscope thing, showing that it's absolutely 100% proof of a flat Earth. I'm not.
Wait.
I'm not a
Explain.
pilot. I don't go into territories. I don't go into technical territories that I don't know about. Okay, I use basic formal logic. Okay, that's it. That's all I need is basic formal logic.
This
Okay.
one comes
I'm
in
not an
for-
airplane pilot. I'm not an engineer. I don't go into those realms.
I believe you on that, Wotan.
Okay, cool.
Next up, Joseph Mass says, wrong, as you have not measured it to be flat. You are assuming it is. Something can appear to be quote unquote flat and still not be flat.
No, there's what is it? The skyline across the Great Lakes. The guy in the news says it's a mirage.
Well,
So
guy
in the
news
globe
isn't
Earth, everything is a fairy tale with the globe Earth. You have to understand that. Every observation that goes against the globe Earth is automatically either A, an illusion, or B, because of refraction. There is no exception. Because any of those observations, if they're true, if they're not a mirage, or if they're not from refraction, then that absolutely completely destroys the globe Earth. So every globe Earth, what they have to do is any observation, any mountain range that you see that violates the Earth curve formula, anything that you see past what the Earth curve formula says that what you should see, if you see past that, it's automatically not there. That's exactly the globe Earth position. 100%. They say it's not there. And you're gonna sit here and tell me who's the one being dishonest.
Gotcha.
Next.
This might be it in terms of questions. If I've missed any questions, let me know, folks. We do want to make sure that we get every single question in. And let's see, we've got from... Yeah, so want to say thank you very much, folks. We'll be back in a moment with a post-credit scene where I will let you know about upcoming juicy debates. For example, we are pumped as tomorrow there will be a tag team debate, a 2-on-2 debate on whether or not Noah's Ark has already been found. And then also in May, as tomorrow is May, folks, that's crazy. Some of you maybe listening right now are already in the month of May, but we were excited that also in May, the Bigfoot debate should be epic as well, folks. So we have many others that are not in the paranormal realm as we regularly host debates on science, religion, and politics. We hope you feel welcome here no matter what walk of life you are from, folks. We're very serious about that. We are a neutral platform for debates on science, religion, and politics. Whether you're flat earth, globe earth, Christian atheist, Republican, Democrat, you name it, we're glad you're here. So thanks for hanging out with us, folks. Gentlemen, Wotan and Del, it's been a true pleasure. Thank you for being with us tonight. And with that, folks, thank you very much for hanging out with us. We'll be back in a moment. Actually, Dave Langer has one last question for Wotan. It says, why do your observations count, but Dell's don't?
What observations does he have? He doesn't even have a scientific experiment.
I literally showed you the experiment.
Again, you're gonna go again with the 2 cubes, bro.
Not
Again,
even someone else.
again, your 2
It was
cubes.
me who did it too.
Again, your
It
2
wasn't even
cubes and your
like,
VR,
oh,
bro. Your VR and
Yes.
your 2 cubes. Again, you're gonna go
yes,
on that.
that is a fact.
Okay, we'll just leave the debate with that. That's the globe Earth proof. 2 cubes and VR. There you go. Done. GG.
Sure.
See you later, guys.
Bubble bum.
Have a good night.
Hold
Ciao.
on, Victor.
Bye.
Victor.
Wait. Oh.
I mean, Wotan. Victor. I mean, Bubblegum Gun says, please show the Parthenon correction picture to Wotan. I will send it to him. I don't understand it myself yet, but I will, for real, I'll send it to him because it looks interesting. So want to say, I don't know if you're still here, Wotan, but want to say thank you very much for our guests. We do appreciate them. They're linked in the description. I'll be back in just a moment with a post-credits scene.
I think he's still.
Yeah. I'm not dying. Get out of here. We're dancing in the street. There's nothing left to eat. We're on a winning streak, going out in style. Goes wild. Yeah. I hear you. I'm not dead yet. Get out of here.
Well, that was short, juicy, folks. Want to say hello to you. I feel like I've hardly seen you guys in the last week, even though we did 3 debates in the last week. We did Saturday, then we did Wednesday, and then we did this one. And so that's 3 within a week, but within 7 days, and I still feel like I'm like, because we usually do more. I mean, it's been like oftentimes 4, but long story short, I'm just excited to be back with you guys. It's good to be back and to say hello. I am pumped. Thank you guys for hanging out here. I'm going to say hello to everybody both in the Twitch chat and in the YouTube chat. So good to see you, Tapatzel, Dave Langer, Sideshow Nav, and there's got to be more of you in here. Ozian, good to see you, and Tillionaire, and Brooke Sparrow in the old Twitch chat. Thanks for hanging out. And also, though, pumped to say hello to you in the YouTube chat. Before I talk about upcoming debates, you guys, I just want to just say hello and greet you and say thanks for coming by. And so, oh, folks, 2 minutes. Sometimes I'm like an old man, boomer tech. But good to see you, Ross Thatcher, a.k.a. Flat Earth Aussie, says, I wonder if Dapper Dino will come out, let's see, to show his face when I debate him soon. Well, that's juicy. Maybe. And Mark Reed, good to see you, says, hit like if you think the world is a triangle. Thank you, Mark. And it no doubt is a triangle. Yeah, you guys are funny, trying to pull me into the debate, trying to get me to take sides. But let's see, not you, Mark, but Bubblegum Guns, good to see you. So thanks for coming by, as well as Fantarang, thanks for coming by. And Haxed, good to see you. I like that little bacon emoticon. That's pretty hip, man. Fox Sushi, good to see you. Thanks for your super chat from Tim Pryor. Says, once again, if you given it to us, then stop demanding evidence for it. Ooh. I don't know if you know, just so you do know, Tim, you might be watching, you might be earlier in the stream. And so if you get to this point in the stream, because we're in the future relative to where you are in the debate, so sorry that Wotan's gone. He can't answer it. But glad, thank you for being here. And Norman Bates, thank you for being with us, as well as Inhaxed and DeFreak and Argon the Sad, as well as Brian Griffin. Good to see you. Says, what a show. That was indeed. You were right about that. Robert Page, good to see you as well. And Paradigm Shift Music, good to see you back. Proper FPV says, hello, James. Hello. Good to see you, friend. We hope you're well. And Ross, let's see. Oh, yeah. Did you want to debate him, Ross? Let's see. And Hack says, hi, James. Thanks for the shout out. My pleasure. The Crawdaddy029 says, but you can't go outside right now and see Chicago from New York, or better, Philadelphia, which is 80 miles away from the tallest building in New York. Thank you for that super chat. My guess is you might also be earlier in the debate. I'm not sure, but because Wotan is gone. I cut him loose, as well as Dell. They're both gone, so they can't answer it. But thank you. And Sigma Annie, good to see you again, talking smack with Flat Earth Aussie. Good to see you, Flash Gordon, as well as Algo Rhythm. Glad you're here. And Urshman, thanks for coming by. Thanks, Thom Wellbrand, for being with us. And let me know if I'm pronouncing it right. Is it Dilboticus? Thanks for coming by, Dilboticus. We hope you're doing well. We hope you feel welcome. And Kilgore Trout, good to see you. And Hannah Anderson, thanks for all your support in the chat. That means a lot. And yeah, folks, if you did enjoy the stream, hey, hit that like button. Or maybe you were triggered by it. You were put off by it. You were perturbed. Hit that dislike button. Let her rip, folks. Express yourself. Big Screen Bird says, let's see, good to see you. And also good to see you. Let's see. Is it Woolly Booger? Woolly Booger, good to see you. As well as, is it Jossie Masillo? Thanks for coming by. Let me know if I pronounced your name right. I really do want to pronounce it right. And then the Crawdaddy029 says, yeah, you can't go outside right now. Did you just send the duplicate super chat, or am I crazy? Oh, there's a duplicate super chat saying, yeah, you can't go outside right now and seem Chicago from New York, or better Philadelphia, which is 80 miles away from the tallest building in New York. He's really into that argument. But yeah, Darth Revan, good to see you. And we are excited, folks. This Monday, I should have confirmation on our next big mega event. It has been a little bit behind, I will admit. I meant to announce it this Friday, as in right now. However, we just want to make sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. But believe me, this Monday, the news will come out and it's going to be epic. Or wait, that's right. We don't have a debate till next Wednesday. So it'll be on Wednesday that it comes out, which is, I think, exactly a month from when we hope to. Yeah, it's exactly. So we'll have 30 days to do the fundraiser. So it'll be, we'll be in a time crunch, but that's okay. So let's see. Thanks, Razawad of Gore says, you were the modern dad in control of the modern dabbers. Jerry. That's funny. I remember Jerry Springer when I was a kid. I was like 12 years old, and I'd stay up. I think it was, if I stayed up late, I would sometimes see it on. Joseph Moss, thank you for your super chat and clarifying, who said it's pronounced Moss, by the way. That's right. I think I was saying Mass. Sorry about that. Joseph Moss, we were glad you were here. He says, LOL. I was like, I feel like I'm still waking up in some ways. But Ross Thatcher says, I agree, James. Thanks for your kind words, Ross. I appreciate that encouragement about moderating. It is true, folks. We have to warn you. I mean, if this is your first time here, we've got a pretty easygoing moderating kind of style. In other words, like I purposely, and I also tell guest mods like Carissa or Converse, I say, we don't want to be too overbearing on the debaters. We want this to be spontaneous. We want to like let this be fluid and kind of go where it wants to go. And we used to even let the debaters like midstream. We don't do it anymore because, well, nobody's asked to do it anymore. But one time, like in the past, we used to be so easygoing that we'd let the debaters change the topic. We don't do that anymore. So like halfway through the debate, they'd be like, well, let's debate that instead. And we're like, okay. And now we're like, all right, well, let's just keep it on this for tonight. But yeah, we like it being organic, and to a T, to a degree. You've seen that, for example, tonight we would jump in and we would try to bring about some controlled chaos to the debate. So we're not, just completely letting anything go. But Hannah Anderson, thanks for your support, said, hit that like or that dislike. Either works fine. Just hit one. Thanks for participating. We appreciate everyone. We do. We really do. We hope you feel welcome no matter what walk of life you're from. Norman Bates says, James is my friend. You're right about that, Norman. We are glad you're here. And so thanks for hanging out with us. It is a melting pot, folks. And yeah, I mean, this ain't your grandma's debate channel. Sometimes it is. And, you heard a couple of F-bombs tonight. And I know Steven Steen, sometimes he cries when he hears people swear, like literally like tears crying. And I'm like, Steven, it's seeing a grown man cry over something like this is just, I don't need to see this. But nonetheless, the Flat Fellow, good to see you. Peter Griffin, glad you made it as well. And let's see. The Crawdaddy029 says, yes, I sent the same super chat twice on accident. I was about 5 minutes behind the live feed and no super chat bubble popped up, so I thought it didn't send. Oh, gotcha. I just thought you were like really into it. But Robert Page, good to see you. I don't think I got to say hi to you yet. But let's see. Yeah, I think you are. And Hacks said, I always feel like I'm participating because the debaters read the chat sometimes. Yeah, they do. Some do. And we do want the chat to be friendly. We want two things. One, we want the chat to be respectful, which the chat does a good job of. Once in a while, it's, we have to, mute somebody or whatever. But most of the, like 99% of the time, it's always been the case that 99% of the people that hang out here, they're not, slandering anybody in chat, which we like. That's one thing we ask. And the other thing is it is true. I'd rather a debater have their whole attention on the debate. Because it is a little bit like, I would think that, there is research on multitasking does affect performance. That's just what the empirical data says. But nonetheless, let's see, Hannah Anderson says, yeah, it's always true that the moderators are allowed to have, they're allowed to have their say. So if you were a flat earther and you're like, hey, I'll be a fair moderator, you can still express yourself. If you're a flat earther and you're a moderator at this channel in the chat, you can still say like, hey, the earth is flat, people. Like, that is fine. We let moderators say whatever they want. So like, just like a lot of moderators say, hey, the earth is a globe. It's like, that's fine. Like, we want the moderators to be able to say what they want. And, they're enjoying watching the debate too. And they're just, frankly, we don't want to have the moderators be burdened. The goal is that they basically are just only having to look out for hate speech or slander. And Shramajir, am I pronouncing it right? Shramer Jr., thanks for coming by, says, I can't believe how much I've learned not only about the topics, but also about my own process of thinking through what I believe and why. You're awesome, James. Wow, that is super encouraging. Thank you for that kind. That's like one of the nicest chats I've ever gotten. Thank you. It really encourages me. And Mark Reed said, like this video while the earth rotates at 15 degrees per hour. Thanks, Bob. I don't know what you're talking about with Bob, but let's see. We are excited that I think someone did reach out to me for the potential debate of a new flat earth debater who's a pretty popular flat earther. So I will let you know when I find out about that in terms of like how serious the person who reached out to me is. But I'm excited if we are going to host this person. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And so we do hope you guys are doing really well. This is, I love you guys. Thanks for all your support. Seriously, I hope you guys know how much we appreciate it. And then Ross Thatcher said the chat mods seem to be very biased towards one side only. Well, good. Then now you're a moderator. And as long as you don't do anything to lose it, you can be a moderator and you can talk about how the earth is flat if you want. So it is true. One thing to keep in mind is that it is true that most of the moderators are probably globe earthers. It's not because of any favoritism on my part. Like I really do try to be very serious about not playing favorites. It's probably just because most of YouTube is globe earth, right? So like, our channel is just representative of YouTube as a whole. Like most of the people that happen to be Globers. I mean, I could be wrong about that. If you want a survey or some empirical data, I don't have it, but that's my guess. And I don't think that's controversial. So anyway, and Hack says, Beyond the Curve on Netflix, James. I almost watched that. I started watching it because I saw that it had Nathan in it. And I was like, Nathan, I guess was in this documentary. And I guess it's popular. I was dating a girl a year ago. She said, I think she saw a debate where we had Nathan. She's like, you have Nathan Thompson on your channel? And I was like, she's like, I saw him in a Netflix documentary. No joke, it was a true story. And I was like, is he in a Netflix documentary? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, Nathan Thompson? But anyway, Paradigm Shift Music says, I was impressed by the fair moderation here. Some spammers and other undesirable things were said, and both got well addressed. Thanks, Paradigm Shift Music. I'm so glad to hear your positive feedback about the moderators. They're doing a great job. And they really do. Moderators, you do a great job. We really do appreciate you in both the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat. And folks, I've got to let you know, this is a huge important thing that I've got to end with. Crawdaddy's Row 29 says, most of your moderators are probably globe Earth because the Earth is, let's see, Bro, I'm sorry. I can't, there's got to be a period missing in your chat. I don't know what you're saying, but so yeah, I don't know why you keep holding the topic. Yeah, so frankly, it's because people like to debate it. People are excited to debate it. I get like I just said, somebody really popular just reached out to me and they're like, hey, I want to come on and do a flat earth debate. So it's like, hey, if people enjoy it, then cool. And Bimmy says, thanks for your super chat. Bimmy says, new debate. Does multitasking affect performance? James versus To be determined. Kidding aside, love the channel. Thanks for your kind words. Appreciate that. It does. There's empirical data. I could show you the papers if you really want. But that's like my field. Like I'm working on my doctorate in psychology. So I don't know a lot about a lot, but I know a little about psychology. So, but yeah, it is interesting. Now, some people, my theory on why some people are actually like they're chronic multitaskers, but they're still super productive. Probably because they work a ton. And that's okay. If you love working, like you like to grind, which like frankly, I love working. I love doing what I do. Then more power to you. There are people that multitask and they do really well. So Paradigm Shift Music says, sure thing. I also sent it twice since the first one didn't get tagged properly. Oh, you got it. Thank you for that. Appreciate you being persistent. And Hack says, thanks, James. Thanks, mods. You are very welcome. And yes, Argon the Sad says, vegan debates are good too. We will have Vegan Gains on. He's scheduled for May. So May should be, I think May is going to be a pretty big month. It's going to be a lot of epic debates, and June might be even more epic. Like, I'm so excited, you guys, about the channel. I appreciate your guys' support so much. And yeah, I couldn't stress it enough. So thank you so much. Kilgore Trout, thanks for your kind words. I love to work. I agree. I think it's great. I find it engaging. But want to say, folks, before we go, I would highly encourage you, if you haven't already, pull out, see on screen on the right side here on the bottom right, check us out on your favorite podcast app. Open up your favorite podcast app on your phone right now and find us on Spotify or Apple or Podcast Addict or Google Podcasts, whatever. We're on pretty much every single podcast app. So pull out your favorite podcast app right now and subscribe to Modern Day Debate on that podcast. And hey, if you want to be supportive of the channel, give us a rating on there as well. That really does help, for real, folks. We are excited that the podcast is growing pretty consistently. It's just encouraging. And our average podcast amount or downloads per podcast is growing. It's super encouraging. People are finding it useful. And so that is awesome. And so yes, do pull out your favorite podcast app and find us. And we are excited to keep growing there as well. Platium says, don't forget us on Discord. Absolutely right, Platium. Thank you, Platium and Larry Letts. Thanks for all you do on Discord, as well as MathPig originally got us started, right? I think MathPig was one of the original starters. So we do appreciate you very much. And Platium, please let MathPig know. MathPig left the chat before I got to say anything to him. But please let him know, I'm open to hearing more about the GoFundMe that he mentioned. I'm still, because I've turned down a ton of people who are like, hey, are you open to this GoFundMe for the charity stream? And I was like, well, it's not that I don't want to help people. It's that we've always looked for charities that were approved by a charity watchdog, but there's maybe some other way I can help. So feel free to email me, as I do want to help. And so it's just, like I said, I've turned down so many people because I've always been for example, we've given to Save the Children a lot because because they've got a great charity watchdog rating. But Brian Griffin says, can we get a gotcha? That's right. There, you got it. I just said it. And I'm excited, though. So thank you guys for all of your support. Thanks for all of your love. And thank you for Platium, Larry Letts, and others for doing such a great job on our Discord, as we are excited about that. And Crawdaddy says, anyway, said, your moderators are probably mostly globe earth. Bro, by the way, don't drive while you're in the chat, man. Said, because your earth is, so let's see. Oh yeah, I got that one. You don't know why I'm holding the topic. But let's see. Reservoir of Gore says, would a poll before and after each debate be possible? Would be interesting to see how many people's minds were changed. It's possible, but I don't have a ton of time to be able to do extra stuff. It's honestly pretty hard. Working on the doctorate is usually grueling. And so trying to do extra tasks, even something small like that, is just, it's kind of taxing to remember to do all these little things. Because there are a lot of little things I have to do for every stream. And so, long story short, I'm open to it, but I don't know. But anyway, want to say thank you guys for hanging out here. We love you guys. Hope you feel welcome, no matter what walk of life you're from, globe earther, flat earther, Christian, atheist, you name it. We appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are excited about the future. And so, love you guys. Thanks, everybody, for being awesome. And I'm excited. We will be back tomorrow night, so you don't want to miss that. So do hit that notification bell, and that way you will see it when it goes live. So thanks, everybody. Keep sifting out the reasonable from the unreasonable.